Hutto mentioned it. For whatever reason, Collingwood haven't won games this year when a key forward has bobbed up and kicked goals. So what the Swans forward line has to do today is work really well in isolation. They need to separate Collingwood's defenders. So we talked about Howe, Murphy and Moore. They need to try and get them in as many 1v1 contests as they can. If they all come together, the Swans forwards, it's going to be really easy for Collingwood to defend them. But I think this game will be won, and I'm sure Leon will agree later, is going to be the tackle pressure. Swans in round 22 won tackles by 20. Collingwood need to dial that up today, and they have in the first couple of finals that they've played. So it'll be all be around pressure and trying to create turnovers in pivotal parts of the ground where they can go back and score from turnover. But there's so much to look forward to. I could spend hours and hours talking about this game, but I think for me the interesting one will be the Franklin-Moore matchup. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, great thoughts, Sando. And you're just using football intuition to land with Collingwood.
Yeah, I
after all of that,
I think all the analysis I've done this week, Jared, points to a Swans victory, but I have this gut feel.
Yep.
I have this feeling which you get in footy that the Pies will find a way to win tonight by less than a goal. I think 1 point, Hutto.
if either team was going to fall in a screaming heap, which would it be? Do you think who could pull who apart?
Well, if you're going to say this game could blow out,
I hope it doesn't.
Which I think would be the Swans. I think the Swans would find a way to get on top here and crush the Pies. But we haven't seen that this year from Collingwood. We haven't seen it at all. They've been excellent defensively, and they've had that incredible belief that they're never out of a game. So you should have a fantastic time calling this game today, because you'll never feel like Collingwood will be out of it if the Swans at the front.
Have a great call. We'll see you at the airport in the aftermath.
Can't wait.
Brenton Sanderson with us at the SCG. AFL Nation for Motorola. Shoot sharp with the 200 megapixel Motorola Edge 30 Ultra. When last they met, it was the Swans by 27 points, 11-11-77 to Collingwood 7-8-50. That was round 22 at this ground, so it is recent form. This is the pre-game show for Beaumont Tiles $25,000 advertising giveaway. iCanWin.com.au. Leon Cameron is about to take his chair, and we will settle right in on the preview. The formalities to be observed. It is a building scene here at the SCG. It's been lovely blue skies for most of the day. There's some late cloud cover as we reach the twilight, but there is a palpable sense of expectation around the Harbour City and around this majestic old venue. Our travel partner is Melbourne Airport Parking. Nothing beats $12 a day parking at Melbourne Airport. The second preliminary final for the right to face Geelong in the 2022 decider next Saturday at the MCG. Coming up next on AFL Nation, the Sydney Swans and Collingwood from the SCG.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Motorola. Check out the latest smartphones from motorola.com.au.
Hello, Moto.
Is it possible to create tomorrow's car today? Hyundai believes so. Take the Tucson, Hyundai's midsize SUV, featuring a revolutionary look, intuitive interior, advanced tech, and safety. You can enjoy all this in the Tucson Turbo Diesel all-wheel drive. Available now. Tomorrow's car is here today. Hyundai Tucson, in stock now. Visit Hyundai.com.au. Imagine that. Hyundai.
The Designer Appliances Spring Renovation Spend and Get sale is on now. Receive a bonus digital Visa gift card up to $500 on Electrolux, Smeg, Fisher & Paykel and so much more. Visit us at Designer Appliances, Camberwell, Heidelberg, Rosebud and Wantirna South.
The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse sale Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. Buy direct from brands such as Kookaburra, Grey Nichols, Gun & More, New Balance, Asics and more. Save over $500 on top grade senior bats. There's cricket bats from $19, up to 50% off helmets, plus up to 70% off gloves, pads, bags and everything you need for cricket. The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse sale Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. View online at thecricketsale.com.
For the days where you need staff urgently and when you need to get the job done on time, hassle-free and with service to match, M Group Trades and Labour can supply the staff and qualified people you need. Experienced civil and construction workers, general labourers, traffic controllers, specialised trades like spotters, dockmen and crane operators, plus plant operators including roller, excavator and moxie operators. Go to mgrouptl.com.au because M Group Trades and Labour are on site with you.
Hey, Nick Del Santo here. As a rookie, I was mentored by some of the best footy brains around. After all, you don't play over 300 games without starting somewhere. In business, it's easy to find a gun rookie. Just call MEGT. As Australia's largest and only national apprenticeship network provider, MEGT are your local apprenticeship experts. Whether you're an employer who needs an apprentice or you're looking to kickstart your career as one, MEGT has you covered. Visit MEGT.com.au or call 13MEGT.
Calling all builders. Visit iCanWin.com.au for your chance to win a corporate suite for you and your mates to watch your AFL or NRL team in style. Plus receive a $25,000 advertising package with SEN. Thanks to Beaumont Tiles. That's iCanWin.com.au.
Total Tools is your home of low-price hand tools. Stanley, Baco, Estwing, Wiss. We've got all the world's biggest hand tool brands covered. Hammers, pliers, snips, handsaw, levels, chisels. We've got all your hand tool needs covered. Total Tools has got the biggest range of professional hand tools at low prices guaranteed. We can't be beaten now. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
If you've got to build it, lift it, power it, floodlight it, do it right with Oz Equipment Rentals. They're helping Aussie industries go higher by supplying access equipment, lighting towers and materials handling equipment to the construction, mining and roadwork industries. If you are building a new runway, a new road, a new warehouse, a new highway, the name you want is Oz Equipment Rentals. They also support community sporting clubs like Lara Cats, Werribee Centrals and the Ultima Kangaroos. Visit ozequipment.com.
G'day, it's Paddy Dangerfield here. You know how much I love fishing. There's nothing better than having something big on the hook. But what I really want to catch these days is a next-gen Ford Ranger. Bigger, smarter and tougher than ever before. This is the truck everyone wants to land, and they're arriving now. So you can finally snag one of these magnificent beasties for yourself. Next Gen Ford Ranger. Everything you need for work and play.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Motorola. Check out the latest smartphones from motorola.com.au.
Hello, Moto.
Gary Rowan wins it after the siren with a dead eye shot. Bontempelli! Simply the Bont! At the final bell, it's a brand new flag.
Welcome to AFL Nation.
The SCG is our venue. The second preliminary final is before us. The Sydney Swans and Collingwoods, the winner to go on and face Geelong in next week's grand final. AFL Nation is for McDonald's. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today. And Tyre Power, best on ground for family safety. Gerard Waitley and Anthony Hudson to call it for you. And Leon Cameron is our expert for the afternoon. Leon, there's been a big build-up. We've been here for hours, it seems, and now the moment is almost upon us, and the excitement is palpable.
I was nearly actually going to charge you some rent here, mate, because we've been here that long. It is. Looking out at the stands, it's unbelievable. I know you touched on it a little bit before about the 16 experience when the Bulldogs came to town against the Giants, and it was one of those really interesting things when we ran out, and it was a huge roar by the Bulldog supporters, and clearly they were outnumbering a young Giants outfit. The Collingwood supporters are everywhere, and whether it's 40% of the crowd or probably not quite 50, they just make an enormous amount of noise. The Swan supporters are no doubt going to return serve soon when they run out here, but the atmosphere is fantastic. The rain looks like it's gone, hopefully, Gerard, and we're going to have one hell of a game.
We are getting vision. The Magpies are about to enter the arena. They're coming through the tunnel underneath Scott Pendlebury in game 358. We get our first peek down at the Pies. Oh, yeah, they're the villains. They're the villains here at the SCG. It's a brilliant few hours ahead, one fancies. Mason Cox saunters out onto the ground at the back, just taking it all in, as if he was a figure from WWE, trying to draw it all down, and the energy there in. Collingwood through the banner as they look to continue this Cinderella run all the way to a grand final. Our pre-game is for Beaumont Tiles, $25,000 advertising giveaway, iCanWin.com. Leon, tactically, what's foremost in your mind as you look towards it?
I think the biggest question for Sydney, who have got their game intact, is do they run with De Goey? And is it Mills from the start? We spoke to Dean Cox early, and clearly they've got something up their sleeve, and rightfully so. He didn't want to give that away. Do they run with De Goey? Do they put time into Crisp? Is it Mills? Does Parker take him? All these sort of things. It's an interesting decision that the match committee have to make on that in-form midfield, knowing that you're in form. So that's probably the biggest decision that they have to make, to either go away from what they've been doing for a number of weeks.
SCG in September, bloody exciting. That's what the Swans banner reads, as Sydney fans anticipate their entrance as well. So what would you do if it was your choice?
Look, if I'm in the Sydney coach's box, I'm looking at the best two-way player in Mills, Callum Mills. He knows how to come on and off a man, so I would probably be looking at him to go to De Goey, because he's got that ability to play offence and defence, and from the start. And he's got that unique, he's the captain of the footy club, he'll want to put that on his back and say, I can take care of business here, as well as still provide an enormous amount. Is that the Collingwood chant?
That's Collingwood's chant, being met by Sydney fans as well.
It's a chant-off.
It's quite brilliant. It's quite brilliant, and here come the Swans. It's a reception unlike anything that they would have heard here at the SCG before. It is the majority red and white crowds, but there are no house manners when it comes to Magpie fans, and they are making their presence felt as the fireworks head off into the afternoon air here in Sydney.
Yeah, look, I think, back on that, as you just said, Jared, I mean, that's a decision on the midfield. I think for Collingwood, tactically, what do they do with young Nick Dacos? They know that Clark will be set for him. Do they adjust their back seven for the first 10 or 15 minutes just to throw something back at the Swans? Does he start in the middle of the ground? I know McRae has probably protected him from that hustle and bustle of that early in his career. Will he start in the wing? The hard decision they have to make is normally they could flip a Crisp back there, but he's in such good form. It's his 200 game, and well done to him. I think they're probably just going to have to find ways of dealing with that Clark tag, and whether someone might come back and release him, or he runs a lot more aggressively in terms of offence. That's the big thing in terms of the run with players. Style of plays we've spoke about all in the lead-up. Methodically, the Swans will use their feet and hold on to the footy and make good decisions centre forward so that they don't turn the ball over and Collingwood can't go back through the middle. The Swans will be doing everything to cover the middle, because as soon as they make a mistake, Collingwood go a second early on offence, and their backs will come off their man like there is no tomorrow. Darcy Moore, Maynard Howe, who are not only fantastic interceptors, they are very good users of the footy, and so that's the intriguing part of this game, and it's exciting to watch because they're two different sides. One will want to do one thing and one will want to do the other. It's a massive arm wrestle. Who wins out?
Dealing with the occasion. So there's a lot of big final experience in the Collingwood side. They haven't been out of it for long. Is 18 into a grand final, 19 you knocked them out in a preliminary final, 20 they played a huge elimination final in the West that they won. So there's a lot of hardcore experience here, and they've been playing for 8-10 weeks in front of 80,000-90,000 at the MCG. The Swans are a younger side on the rise, still with a smattering of the core from the previous teams who contended. It's their home game. It's their huge opportunity. Isn't it a big occasion for the Swans to deal with?
It is, and we could play this game with no crowd 3 times over. Okay, on the form that the Swans have, they would probably win 3 times, no crowd. But, and that's the big but, prelim finals and the support of the crowd as your 23rd man is enormous. And dealing with that with young you talk about Dylan Stevens or McInerney, and these guys might have only played a final or two, whereas Collingwood have probably got a little bit more experience in that aspect. Plus, they've played 2 weeks in a row. And we spoke about this during the week, is that funny things happen with the sides that have 2 weeks off over a month. And last night we seen Geelong were just absolutely methodical in what they did, so they must have got their week right. They trained, whether it was an 8 and 10K workout last Friday, the right amount of intensity because they were on and they destroyed Brisbane. If Sydney have done that, but Collingwood, who is this hardened team, that's the big thing for me. Will it take the Swans 15 or 20 minutes to get going, like we've seen in the past with some prelims, and Collingwood could pounce with that, and they get this huge army behind them, and all of a sudden the doubt in the young minds of the Swans players could put them on the back foot. Time will only tell.
Our experts throughout the season have been dressed by Ringers Western. Ringers Western clothing looks great in the city and toughs it out on the land. And when we take your calls across the weekend, it's for Star 21, Telstra Enterprise Partner of the Year. At Franklin and Moore, is that an unshakable matchup in your eyes?
Oh, look, I think we'll see parts of it. And for the pure football people that just love watching one-on-one battles, it'll be there for parts, but Collingwood play this system where if Franklin comes up high, young Murphy will have him, or Howe will take him. Moore will stay deep and control that. I don't think they'll just go specifically with that and they'll back their back six in on a system basis. Whereas down the other end, I think there'll be more matchups. I think Tom McCartan will go to Myercheck. Both of them have got huge aerobic capacity to run all day. I think Paddy will be set for Cox when he comes down there, when he's not in the ruck. And I think either Fox or Rampy will be really set for one of Ginnivan and Elliott, who plays closer to goal, who have got that unique ability to create something out of nothing. And those two defenders are in great form themselves.
We're watching the warm-ups for Ream, more than 80 years manufacturing in Australia. And we have travelled today. I've got the new Samsonite case, which is a ripper. Unpack the world with Samsonite. Visit samsonite.com.au. In the midfield, so Collingwood is not a clearance team, but could they have a clearance day? It's not like the personnel is not in there. Can you defy your numbers in one special occasion in the preliminary final?
Absolutely, and that's the wonderful thing about sport. Sydney have been unbelievably good at clearances the last 8 weeks, unbelievably good at contested ball. Against Melbourne, they were minus 25. That's a smacking.
Yep.
But they won the game by 4 goals because they did so many other things in the game that was done really, really well. And we do get hung up on stats. I'm guilty of that as a coach. Oh, but we won this, and this. But at the end of the day, the scoreboard, you're not in front. And so there's some unique outliers in all of this. And come prelim final, there could be a unique outlier.
Can I actually ask you on that, Leon, about number targets? Like when you're trying to restrict the team to under 20 marks, or as Sando was referring to, per quarter, or whatever it is. Not so much the differential, more when does that always work, or can players get too conscious of a number?
Absolutely. So it's like anything, Hutto. It's the art in selling it. And sometimes you don't want to refer to the number. You just probably wanted to refer to the let's keep their uncontested marks intact. So they don't just think, they're coming at quarter time and all of a sudden Sydney are, 24 uncontested marks for the quarter, and Collingwood think, it's over now because we didn't get under 20. So it's sometimes dangerous using numbers. But it can be a real clear focus point.
Yeah, and I guess too, sometimes 20 of any stat, 24, because sometimes it can be misleading because you might get 5 or 6 in one corner that doesn't mean anything. So you still got to have that eye, don't you, and understand the impact it's having.
Absolutely, and we've seen games over many years, you called them, Hutto, where you go, that side's just won, but statistically the other side should have won by 5 or 10 goals. Yes. But at the end of the day, you've still got to be able to kick it through the big sticks and be in front at the end. And
sometimes that number is the most important, isn't it? They're just the ability to be able to kick it through the big sticks.
And we're actually talking right now quite a unique side in Collingwood with some of those indicators that have stood the test of time are not there. They are unique. They can score. in a unorthodox manner, and that might throw the Swans out after doing so much right throughout the game.
And then they're all humans out there just watching the really tight Sydney 6 or 7 together, like a team huddle, but just the defenders huddling together. And at the other end, little pairs of Collingwood players just giving each other a little hug, a little pat, sort of stuff you would never have seen in your day, really. I don't think that open affection for each other and encouragement. There's nerves. There's a lot of nerves in that, but they're also, that's sort of the way they do it these days.
Yeah, and look, we look at, probably one of the greatest players of all time in number 23 for Sydney. He will be very, very nervous, but he will have a bit of venom in the game today. And if we see him tackling early and hitting that contest 100 miles an hour, I think we could see, a 2 or 3 goal performance from Lance Franklin. And it doesn't matter whether it's game 1 or game 350, how many finals, 340, wherever he's played, and how many finals he's played, and a lot of them have been good ones, let's be honest. There's going to be some nerves, but the ones that settle the quickest, and that's the big if, who's going to settle the quickest and the earliest, normally can get into rhythm.
26 finals for Lance Franklin. He averages over 3 goals a game against Collingwood. 72 goals in 26 finals. Played in a grand final in 2008 in his 4th year. And then, of course, he lost the preliminary final in 2011 and was there in 2012 to 2013 with their second flag. Went to Sydney and was a losing member of that team against his old side, and then to the Bulldogs in 2016. And the prospect of having Lance Franklin back for a last hurrah at the MCG in a grand final, or who knows, maybe he's going to play on next year, but it's that's something that is so exciting if the Swans get over the line this afternoon.
Leon Cameron, our expert for Buy My Stock. Got excess stock. Visit buymystock.com.au. We've all used the Melbourne Airport parking today. Nothing beats $12 a day parking at Melbourne airports. Hugh Sheridan's going to sing the national anthem. Now, he's got a shiny Kermit green suit with white sneakers and sunglasses on. That's a get-up that you don't see. You've got to be confident to wear that, Hutto.
I don't know why you're looking at me, Jared. It certainly wouldn't be my outfit.
Hutto just got changed, though. Come on, mate.
You've got to be confident to present like that. He'll be on fire this final series for Barbecue Galore, who's been on fire during finals. The players have come to the broadcast wing to observe the formalities. The roar at the end of the anthem is really going to be something.
Football League and Premier Partner Toyota welcome you to the second preliminary final between the Sydney Swans and Collingwood Magpies. The AFL would like to acknowledge the Biddigol and Gadigal clans who occupy the Sydney coast and pay our respects to elders past and present. We acknowledge we play our great game on this land and respect the cultures of all First Peoples, their contribution to our nation and contribution to the great game of Australian rules football. To conduct an official welcome to country, please welcome Nolene Timbury, Chair of La Perouse Aboriginal Land Council.
The Welcome to Country is a ceremony recognising the cultural and spiritual connection to country and an opportunity to reaffirm our ongoing relationship to our land and waterways. The ceremony allows us to pay respect to our elders, to reflect on our history and to build a vision for a prosperous and reconciled future. I'm proud to be from the La Perouse Aboriginal community at Botany Bay, and like many of my community, have traditional and cultural connections to coastal Sydney, the Illawarra and the Shoalhaven. I would like to acknowledge the Gadigal and Bidjigal clans, who are the traditional occupants of the land we gather on. I ask that you join me in paying respects to Gadigal and Bidjigal elders, past and present, and on their behalf, I welcome you here today. This area of Sydney is significant to my community as a place to gather, compete and celebrate. Not too far from here, my ancestors gathered from Broken Bay, Botany Bay and the Illawarra for important conflict, ceremony and corroboree. The neighbouring areas around here were even used as seasonal Aboriginal camps right up until the early part of the 20th century. On behalf of the La Perouse Local Aboriginal Land Council, my ancestors and my people, I welcome you all here, and I hope that you respect this land as my people have since the beginning of time. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Nalene Timbro, for that wonderful welcome to country. Now, if you are able, would you please now rise and join with the coaches, players and umpires for the Australian National Anthem to be performed by the very talented Hugh Sheridan.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
It's a thunderous ovation containing so much expectation and anticipation ahead of this preliminary final at the SCG. The first one here since Plugger kicked that famous behind to propel the Swans to the grand final in 1996. Collingwood, they've travelled en masse, as was well forecast, and you can pick the bays of black and white amidst the sea of red and white around the stadium. It's all unmissable. It's unmissable moments everywhere you look for Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you drink wise. Choose to drink wise. So what's your overall, Leon? If we asked you to pin it down, how does it get won? How is it lost and a place in the grand final grasped?
Oh, look, the pressure from both sides is going to be enormous, and Collingwood and Sydney 1 and 2 are going to bring that, and it's just who can capitalise on that outstanding pressure. Can you make a good decision after you've won the ball back, go back through the opposition and score at a vital time and reward all that effort? I see Sydney probably doing that just a little bit better than Collingwood over the journey of 120 minutes, but look out, Collingwood supporters, if Collingwood get that huge army behind them because they jumped the Swans and they're really hardened at the moment, and can they capitalise early? But we're in for one outstanding prelim final.
We very much are. The Swans are about to leave their huddle. The Magpies still in their circle of hope. As we count down toward the opening bounce for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. And only the seats towards the very back of the stand and the partial viewing seats are not taken up at the moment. This will test the capacity of the ground, certainly from a footy perspective. They all head to their positions. Swans highlights from the year that have delivered them to this moment. Such an impressive qualifying final win over Melbourne, and now to parlay the advantages of that. Well, Collingwood, the form has been franked. They ran Geelong all the way, and then the Cats barnstormed their way into a grand final. So with the countdown heading toward 10 on AFL Nation towards this second preliminary final, you're with Anthony Hudson.
The winner to take on Geelong next week at a packed MCG. But the SCG is where we are, and we're so lucky to be here. Darcy Cameron and Tom Hickey have had interesting journeys to take the number one ruck spots and lead the way from the centre circle. They're opposed right now as Matt Stevitt gets us underway, thumps it into the turf. Hickey was able to hand it off to Rowbottom, and it's the Swans with the first look. Sam Reid pushed off more, almost got back onto the football. Raw played escort and got it safely over the line and out of bounds. So throw-in to take place in that forward pocket. Quainer watching Papley closely. Mills engaged with Maynard, all in front of the two ruckmen. Cameron patted it down, had to follow up, got across towards Josh Dacos, a slight fumble. Laid out with Sam Reid, gathered by Quaynor, handball, went towards the line and went over. And now we'll have a throw in some 40 metres around. No one really being able to hold the footy decisively early. It's what we expect in an opening minute or two.
It'll be hot and contested as they form up. Reid shoulder to shoulder, took it out of the ruck, then got caught by Maynard. Papley, he rode his way into a tackle, hoping for something high. The defenders didn't give it away. The umpire was prepared to call a ball up. Without hesitation, 45 out from the Sydney goal. Reid again got it clean off the row bottom. Opening shot is across the face of goal and slips in from behind. Sydney on the Robot Building Supplies scoreboard, score first.
A couple of balls are out there, so the umpire instructs the talented Nick Dacos to pick one up, and while you're contemplating where to hit the other one, he kindly gives it back to the goal umpire, and that's put back into storage. He's had the full amount of time and then some to work out where to head. He brings it this side of the ground, out to left half back. Cox displaced by the flying Tom McCartan. Lovely hands from Heaney, but the umpire's picked out a free. Everyone stopped. Luke Parker didn't! And he's jagged one from 40 metres to get us going. Swans with the opening goal. The Collingwood defence just froze for a second, and Scott Pendlebury is not happy. He disputes the call with the umpire. It had an effect. Luke Parker wasn't hanging around. 1-1-7, the Pies yet to score.
It sure did have an effect, and all of Collingwood players stopped and for 2 or 3 seconds, and not knowing which way the free was going was cost them a shot on goal. And Parker, really, really good start, and to kick that just gives the Swans an early ascendancy. I know we're only in for a couple of minutes, but to nail a shot from 40 out on the run, go back to the centre square, is just a great confidence builder.
It wasn't entirely evident what the free kick was for, having a look at the replay.
I think it was a shepherd out in the marking contest.
Okay. AFL Nation for McDonald's. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today. Sydney 7, Collingwood yet to score. Cameron taps it down to Pendlebury. Hand pass was charged down by Papley. Clark couldn't make anything of it. Sharp hand pass, Chris to go. He ran past it, side bottom, threw it onto the left boot. No penetration in the kick. And it's cut off by Blakey at centre half back. Hayward was waving for it frantically over on the broadcast wing. And Blakey, well, he had a mind to kick it here and then changed his mind. So Heaney had to make good on a ball that was floating to half forward. He's gone for Franklin, one-on-one with Maynard. He toppled out of the contest, did Franklin, and Maynard took the mark in the end unopposed. Across defensive goal, he comes to Noble. Quaynor on the way out. Hayward did enough. Got up, jarred it clear. It's out of bounds, 45 away from the Sydney goal.
That's where the boundary umpire will come in and do his work. There's a quick look to locate both ruckmen. And it's Sam Reid and Darcy Cameron, former teammates. On either side of the 50. Ball drops a little short, tapped down by Darcy Cameron at the front. Mills, good choice not to take possession. Rowbottom couldn't quite restrain more. The handoff went to Crisp. Well, under duress, they've worked their way. A little piecemeal, but they've got it out. Side bottom to Degoe. This is the most confident Collingwood have looked so far. They launch off left half back. He curls one for Myercheck. Ginnivan is charging forward. Ash Johnson is the target on the move now. Tom McCartan had to turn around. He went up early at the back. It's picked up by McCreary. Bought a little bit of time. Back to Ginnivan. He's caught. Dropped it. Oh, no, it's high.
That was blatant. Young Stevens probably just didn't go low enough on the tackle here.
Oh, that was a shoulder lead from Ginnivan, but you're right, maybe Stevens had to be more careful. Don't know, it's still hard to know what the correct call is. He kicked the first goal last week. Can he kick Collingwood's first at least today? It will take his very best in the long sleeves, with all eyes at the SCG on Jack Ginnivan. It won't be a goal. It drifts across the face. Swans defence do their thing. They don't concede the behind in the end. McInerney kept it alive and a pretty aggressive line on the way out. That suits Jeremy Howe just fine, although he stumbled at the last. Didn't take the mark. Nick Dacos is crowded out as well. Now the scramble gets really mad. The tap goes back to Pendlebury. He's upended. It took a couple of Swans to bring him down. And the umpire will call for a ball up. 1-1-7 Sydney. Collingwood yet to score.
Tossed up in the centre square. Cameron got handball. It rolled through Mills's legs. Crisp couldn't handle it. Mills had another go. Rowbottom got some high contact from De Goey. He prized the kick in the Franklin direction. He leaps. All they came from all angles. Moore and Maynard to affect the spoils. Pack collapsed. Papley unloads to the teeth of goal, but Howe saw it coming.
That's a couple of times, Liam, we've seen Maynard actually do the body work on Franklin and to allow Moore to play well ahead of him.
All those figures are involved. Howe to Moore to Maynard. Not a great kick. Got his way around Reid, so solved the problem well. Released Pendlebury. Now to Nick Dacos, forward to the middle. He has a look inside 50. Place it for Johnson. Blakey made the spoil. They are in and after the crumb. Parker tipped it away and dragged Pendlebury down without it. Had to be a free kick. And so it was.
You're right. I think every chance they get, they're bodying up Franklin. But as soon as that's the turnover, they are just going from half back. That collision, I think Franklin really hurt himself, Hutto.
7th minutes of the opening term. Makita ruled the outdoors clock. Pendlebury with a chance to set Collingwood up to the teeth of goal. Cox went one-handed. Myercheck works underneath. Kick partially smothered. Blakey off the last line. Again, the Swans won't concede. McInerney to Florent. He's kicked for Franklin. It lands in front of him and bounces out of play. Maynard and Franklin up against the ropes. Adding to the festival hall atmosphere in all of this. They part company. They'll reconvene their hostilities in a few moments' time.
7 minutes in, Collingwood still yet to score. Sydney have the only goal of the game so far. Darcy Cameron, good work after the bounce. Both ruckmen had missed it. Pendlebury eked to kick forward, grabbed though by Parker. He worked in well with McInerney. Just released the handball on the return in the nick of time. Heaney threatening early, didn't mark, bounced to his feet. He fumbled, allowed Pendlebury in. Just got the handball out to Josh Dacos. He stripped it of it immediately. Heaney working overtime in tandem with Mills. And then the experience of Parker. The build-up is better from the Swans. Double grab from Franklin, but he recovered. Kicked it out to Reid, still on the periphery. 55 from goal, gives himself room to kick for Hayward or Stevens, who was full throttle, and he kicked it out of the hands of Sidebottom for a goal. He didn't take the mark, he wasn't far off, but he was quick to react. Sidebottom was trying to claim it in the goal square, but Stevens just sunk the boot in, and it's been ticked off as a second goal for the Swans. 2-1-13, and Collingwood yet to score.
Just a classic case of turnover, and the Swans' pressure over on the far wing was awesome. Collingwood looked like they were out. Their tackle pressure was really good. And then their hands to release the runner, and Parker's ability to lower their eyes. He started really, really well. Allowed Franklin to get off his man, and then that kick into Reid allowed to get into an open forward line. And what a wonderful, wonderful goal from a young Stevens on the wing.
Collingwood will need to settle right now. Centre circle for Flight Centre, your front row seat centre. It's 2-1-0 in the Swans' favour. And Warner wins the ball in the middle, so Sydney forward again. Cutting the angles off, though, was Murphy, who did well on the intercepts. Feeds the hand pass to Howe, who brings it to the near side for Bianco. They are pretty well manned up ahead, though. And Bianco takes a long time to study the terrain. He's kicked it for Quain all right against the boundary. Had to wear the late pressure of Florent, but he does take the mark. McCreary was open momentarily down the line, but Quainor wants to go more attacking than that. Through half forwards, over the top of Cameron. Ginnivan plays Crummer, nearly missed it. It trickles inside 50. Myercheck gathers, he's offloaded by Mills. Ball it up. Robot Building Supplies scoreboard 2-1-0. 10 minutes in. Collingwood in attack now. Hickey wins the tap. Warner's onto the footy in a two-man tackle. He'll be stripped of the ball. Crisp released it. Pendlebury poked the kick inside 50. McCreary knocked it on. Lloyd was having none of it as he cuts it off. Put it through Florent and then to Stevens, who ran an ambitious arc, kicked it for Franklin. He's got support underfoot. Goulden releases Heaney, striding to half forward. He'll kick it out on the full. Quite sure how he managed to make a meal of that. He was looking forward and the numbers were all set against him.
I mean, Collingwood had really set up well behind the ball. As a 3-1, he was just trying to get McDonald to come towards him, and the Collingwood chase pressure was outstanding.
Leon Cameron with us in the experts chair this afternoon. Kick gets banged up by Howe to the wing. Johnson playing in front, took a tumbling grab, and it was a telling one in front of McCartan. Paddy, not easy to do. Playing just his 9th game of AFL football. What a dream it's been for the mature age rookie. The number 40 bangs it up to Myercheck, but Hickey was back playing saviour, and he takes an excellent grab. The tallest customer there, and he's going to get 50, is he? Myercheck may be overstepping the mark. So suddenly, Sydney thinking about attack and setting up another scoring opportunity. But he strolls back to the top of the goal square, being watched carefully by Jeremy Howe. Hickey sends it in his direction. Heaney's a factor as well. Oh, Buddy, it came off his chest. Picked up by Ryan Clark. Had a good look and made the most of that opportunity. Buddy saw, but the Swans are feeling no pain. They have the first 3 goals. 3-1-19, and it's Ryan Clark. It's one thing being a defensive forward. It's another if you can hit the scoreboard. And Collingwood in early peril.
Yeah, and you're right on that, Hutto. I mean, I think with Clark going to Dacos, it's such a big win. It's like scoring 2 goals in the space of a minute, just to front and square. And credit to Franklin. We all think about his crazy great skills and the freakish things that he can do in the game. But he's had 2 enormous contests in the last 5 minutes. And he's brought the ball to the ground, and all of a sudden the Swans have broken out to that 3-goal lead. Collingwood are in the game, but they're a bit fumbly at the moment, and when they go centre forward, there's just no fluency at the moment.
Leon Cameron for buymystock.com.au. It's 19-0. Cox wins the tap in the middle. Pendlebury tracks the footy. He didn't gather. Crisp did. Threw it onto his left boot. It's a bumbling kick forward, though. And Florent just attacked it. Barged his way clear. Had a bounce. Links it up. The kick will come from Clark. Up to Franklin and Maynard. Maynard took hold. Franklin couldn't hang on. There was pressure coming at Buddy from everywhere.
Probably a bit stiff.
What's the call here? They're going to have a score review on a rushed behind roofing and sheet metal centre.
Well, if it's not all over, it's a goal.
Score review. Umpire's call is a behind.
Looked like it was over, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It's like appealing for LB from square leg. We haven't got the best view.
It felt like the play had ended. Franklin's got a huge target on his chest, but I mean, what odds that Stevens and Clark would be on the scoreboard when they'd kicked 4 goals each for the season coming in. And they've each got a goal in an opening flurry from the Swans. We're yet to see a replay on this score review. Roofing and sheet metal centre, everything sheet metal from the roof down. Maybe the Arc doesn't even know what it's looking at. Is Moore punched it away in the pack, and it completed its
review complete.
To the line.
Looking at this angle, you can see the ball crosses the back of the goal line before being kicked through. Decision on the scoreboard.
It was McDonald who was trying to make it interesting. Franklin, all eyes were to him as to whether there was going to be a free kick or not, either against Maynard or Moore, but you'd tick all of that off as well. It's a very thorough process, but it will be a behind. 3-2, 20-0, the Swans after 14 minutes on the Robot Building Supply scoreboard.
Moore takes the simplest choice on the re-entry. Short into the back pocket for Maynard as they continue to work across that half-back. Still in the shadows of the Victor Trumper stand. Inside defensive 50. Collingwood without a score. Sydney 3-2-20. Sends it up along the wing. Early leap from Blakey, threatened from the back of the pack, but it fell Reed's way. A handball to Fox. He was already over the line and out of bounds. So we await a throw in now. Out of the sunshine on that outer side. Cox backing up in the ruck against Reed. Reid had the influence, tapped it down to Parker, fit of the fumbles for the experienced Swan. Side bottom couldn't do much with it. The extra numbers arrived. Goulden hugs it in, and now the umpire's hugging his chest. 3-2, 20-0 through 15 minutes on the Makita time clock in this opening term. Crisp couldn't escape. Goulden wore him well. Now Warner's turn, tried to stand up through the tackle. Was able to get a handball away, only as far as to go. He put the head down, the bottom up. Scrambled a dribbler forward to half forward. Lloyd was there and released it to Blakey. On the inside, Parker weaved his way skillfully back through the traffic. The kick didn't match the build-up. Noble, who's beheaded in a tackle with a little bit too much vigour and not too much care. Sam Reid reckons it was self-induced by Noble, and Noble promptly kicks it out on the full. And Collingwood just can't finish their plays.
Centre forward. It was really good from Reid. He knew he did the wrong thing, gave away a free kick, didn't give up on the chase.
AFL Nation for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. Blakey has the restart. He runs the contour of the boundary and takes the yardage on offer. Reid has a fly on the wing and takes the contested mark. Feeds it off instantly to Warner. Kicks it up to Papley. Not without a hope. Quaynor stands right on the 50. And with Papley able to crib on the stand rule, you fancy he will make the distance. Tom Papley has had a sneaky glance to his right, but is now settled on the long set shots. Papley gives it all he's got, and it's plenty. Out into the stands on a thumping kick. And Tom Papley makes it 26-0 before the halfway mark of the opening term. It is shock and awe at the SCG. 4-2-26. Collingwood yet to score. Robot Building Supplies scoreboard. Robots got it.
For me, Jared, it's not the shock, it's the awe, because what we're seeing is what Sydney have been doing for 8 weeks. Now they're doing it against a really, really good side in Collingwood. They have settled extremely well. Their hands are on top of their game at the moment. They are making great decisions centre forward, and they look really dangerous. Whereas Collingwood a little bit fumbly, their decisions centre forward are not coming off at the moment, and they need to score really, really quickly just to give them a little bit of hope back in this game early.
Centre bounce, 4-2-26. Sydney, Collingwood yet to score. Bounce was wayward, so we'll have to reassemble for a second. Josh Dacos in the middle along with DeGoey, Pendlebury under Mason Cox, Sam Reid backing up with Warner, Mills and Parker for the Swans. The ball is loose on the restart. It fell Pendlebury's way. Goes for distance. Defended was Darcy Cameron. McCartan Tom trying to do the tackling work, and then he's besieged by the hard-working Pat Lipinski, forcing a ball up inside the forward 50 for Collingwood. We haven't seen too much of that yet. A little bit of territory for Collingwood is much needed. Can they convert it into a score? Ginnivan's on the move as Reid controlled the ruck contest. Myercheck thrust his head back, trying to draw some high contact, and the umpire wasn't buying that time. So it's a ball up again. Collingwood an inch or two closer to goal. Reid front position, the extra height with Cox. He got the tap, but down to Rampy, and they work it out of there through Stevens. A tumbling punt was too tall for Franklin. Dacos somehow got a handball out. Howe wasn't able to, and he's going to pay the full price. Gang tackling from the Sydney Swans, but done with that level of care. And Ryan Clark won the free, handed it off to Franklin on the wraparound kick to half forward. No real marking targets. Papley came and made a contest at least. Hayward got it forward, back to Papley, who stayed in the play. There's a free kick. Holding the ball, it's coming back to Collingwood. Noble's taken the advantage. Dubious whether there was any. Can they turn it into something fruitful? Side bottom gave him a way out on the outer side. A mark, a bounce, a pivotal contest on the wing, which Hoskin Elliott couldn't win. That meant Blakey was in the play. Handball to Fox. It bounced back to Blakey. A fumble. Went the way of Cameron. Didn't really look, just got it on the foot. Got it forward into the 50, at least to give his forwards an opportunity. Ginnivan plays tackler on McCartan. Paddy gets it back safely to Rampy. The up, the under, to the wing. Cameron backing back. Side bottom wrapped his hands around it. Couldn't mark. It went to Mills and now to Warner. They can build off the wing. There's options through the middle. Hayward. Papley has the forward 50 to himself. Collingwood get reinforcements off the bench. Will it be too late? No. Heaney toppled over. Loose ball onto it. Darcy Moore looks up to the wing. He has Lipinski. He's got grander plans. He didn't see Rowbottom. The umpire generous in the interpretation. Allowed play to go on. Pendlebury Julie does that to Howe. And now it's controlled by Lipinski. Collingwood get a look through to Goey.
Tagoe has that stare inside 50. He's kicked it for Cox. It cleared him. Fox made the spoil in defence. Ginnivan works away underneath. Wore the tackle. Still had the footy. Surely holding the ball. He took a week to get rid of it. And the Swans just overwhelm. What about the more spoil on Heaney? For all the world, that was another shot at goal coming. 4-2 the Swans' way. We've just ticked into time on of the opening term on the Robot Building Supplies scoreboards. Paddy McCartan on the restart. Kicks for territory. Knocked away from Hickey. Underneath. First access is Stevens. Bianco wraps him up in the tackle. Ball it up. Crisp and Elliott down on the bench at the moment for Snaffle. Bite-sized payments win at the stoppage. Tagoe gets hold of it. Rowbottom got him, holding the ball. All the key duels being won by the Swans. Mills claims the advantage, which he shouldn't have, and he kicks it out on the full.
Yeah, and I think, like the Swans' tackling pressure, they are sticking their tackles and Collingwood aren't. And for Collingwood to get back in this game, they need to raise the bar. They've been very good with pressure, but they need to raise the bar because it's just off at the moment.
Howe on the 45, finds Quaynor, commits to playing on. Around Warner, driving kick to the point of centre half forward. Cox again, threatened hands to it, but that's all. Mills with the scraps. Off to Heaney, the handballs are chained up. In the air, a bit of a ricochet from the Rowbottom kick gave Pendlebury a look. In the heart of the SCG, he had time, he created time, and what a pass to Ginnivan. Too hot for him in the end. He couldn't quite hang on when Collingwood desperately needed to him. Adventurous kick from Fosdyke. Heaney chose not to take possession. Went back onto it. He had to contend with Quaynor, and he was a little zealous or overzealous in doing so.
This is their issue here, Hutto. Just around the wing, going inside 50. It's normally just long. I know they play a scramble game. They need to lower their eyes and see if they can gain 20 to get it in a little bit deeper.
Quaynor chances his arm to centre half forward. Cox comes out and takes a towering mark. Right at the 50. It's too far for him. He nurses it up in the Cameron direction. Spoil made. Hoskin Elliott plays Rover and snaps a goal. Collingwood are on the board. And it was the intervention of Mason Cox which has played such a role. Hoskin Elliott finished the work and they pick up the chase. One straight Collingwood, 4-2-26 the Swans on the Robot Building Supplies scoreboards.
To say they didn't need that, Jared, was an understatement. But look, they got away with that inboard kick around 50 to 60, but that was the 1 in 5. Now, Cox was very, very good. He took the mark, went back, assessed. A little bit unlucky, Cameron, not to get a free kick. Hoskin Elliott scrambled that goal, and we know that's the Collingwood way, and they want to be bold and brave. But if they can just carry it over a line a little bit more and get it in a little bit deeper, it just puts the Sydney Swans' backs under a little bit more pressure at the moment.
First goal comes with 6 minutes remaining in the opening term. Makita Rulli outdoors. Centre bounce. Cox following up his work up forward. Got the left-handed tap, but it was into the path of Parker. Brought in Mills by hand. Had time for a quick glance out to that right half forward flank, almost the wing. Goulden couldn't quite bring the mark down, but he had excellent support. Warner fired out the handball to Blake. His timing was excellent. The kick, though, disrupted. Quaynor running interference again across half-back and doing it well to Lipinski. And out wide to Bianco. Let it bounce and then took control. Went short to Elliott. Haven't seen much of him so far. Just caresses, nurses the kick a little further to Lipinski. They're still behind the left wing. That's about to change. It was a strange old kick, softened kick, and it was well read by Mills. Got in front of Crisp, but got the handball away. And now Hickey, a high rainmaker back to the wing. Contesting pretty strongly that time was Lipinski. Got it forward to Crisp. McCartan playing in front back there. Paddy kicks nicely, identified that his teammate in Ollie Florent had the wing to himself, and he takes the mark. Steadies things, Goes to Stevens. Just good, logical, sound footy from the Swans as they look to build up again. They have 4 of the 5 goals kicked so far in this game.
13-10 inside 50s in the Swans' favour for safety. Steel Sheds. Kick comes to half forward. McDonald and Reid were in the air, but it was kept away from them. Nick Dacos did the roving to Pendlebury. Incisive hand pass to Crisp to Lipinski. The link up is perfect. Put McCreary into space. He had a bounce. He kicked to Johnson at full forward. It just floated away from him and wouldn't sit up. It goes out of play and a moment passes. That was wide open, Leon.
That's the Collingwood we want to see. That rebound off half-back, all of a sudden, but they just missed that opportunity. McCreary just overweighted the kick, but it was brilliant play from Pendlebury.
Forward pocket stoppage instead. Cox threw his boot at it out toward the boundary. Sidebottom didn't get hold of it. Fox did. He clears the area for the Swans. Reid and Moore form up. Reid got it to ground. Quaynor got it over the boundary.
Seems like they've settled a little bit better in the last 5 minutes. The Pies.
Yeah, still time too. There's still 4.5 minutes to play out in this opening quarter. If they could edge back maybe with one more goal, that'll give them something to work with. Throw in now, almost on the wing. Cox followed up. Batted back towards the line by Pendlebury. So Cox had to work against the more nimble Mills. At least split the contest. Lipinski with an aggressive handball forward to Cameron. Onto the boot quickly. Elliott stood up and hung on long enough for the mark to be paid. 25 to 30 metres out from goal.
Geez, Pendlebury's been very good.
Yeah.
From minute one. You talk about experience at the start, Jared. It's coming out in spades at the moment. His decision-making when a lot of players are a little bit off the game at the moment has actually kept them in it. And he's had an outstanding first quarter.
Jamie Elliott, goalless last time these two sides met in round 22. Simply must from here. He should. We know he can convert in the most difficult and tense circumstances, and he can here in a final at the SCG from 35 metres out, 2 in a row. And suddenly Collingwood, as a nation, feels better. 2 straight 12. Sydney, 4-2-26. It's back to 14 points, and that is all on the Robot Building Supplies scoreboard. Robot's got it.
Yeah, it's pretty even inside 50s. I think the count's probably, 13-12 or something at the moment.
13-13 now.
13 all. And, 5-7 minutes ago we thought, how far Sydney? They've settled a lot better. Collingwood just making better decisions going forward. I've mentioned Pendlebury. He's just been absolutely first class with everything he's touching at the moment. And all of a sudden, Collingwood have got the chant up. They're back in it. A couple of goals down when it looked a little bit out of their reach about 7 or 8 minutes ago.
Pendlebury's had 10. He's running hot for Ream. Steady, hot and strong. Slapped into the ground in the middle. It's the high rise. Hickey got around. Umpire toppled over. Papley brushes his way out of the middle and the Swans come forward. Kick in the Franklin direction. Maynard and Moore are both there. It leaves Reid at the back. It's skipped away from him on the first bounce. Quaynor intervenes. Loose hand pass. Warner does the bullocking work. Wins it back. Off to Franklin. Sharp to Heaney. Up now to Clark. Ran into a dead end. Crisp with a goal-saving tackle. Nick Dacos, though, lost it to Warner, who's trying to open the angles. Franklin's on. Noble pushed him underneath and the ball reached the back and skipped through for a goal. What a sequence of events that was. It's a Warner goal, almost by surprise. And so much focus on Franklin from all the defenders that Collingwood pay a price for it. 5-2-32 Sydney, 2 straight 12 Collingwood on the Robot Building Supplies scoreboard. Robot's got it.
I love what the Swans do when Papley goes in the middle of the ground. It just creates an enormous amount of chaos. And for Swan supporters out there, what's happening at most centre bounces is Papley's just there. He uses explosive pace, his agility to be an unbelievably good centre bounce player. Mills then runs on, plays on ball, and Papley spits forward. And from that, has created a goal out of nothing.
Swans the first 4 goals, Collingwood the next 2. And now a steadier from Chad Warner, one of the stars of the Swans. And where they've got to this year. The tap from Cameron is well read by Crisp. He gets out of the front of the stoppage in his 200th game. He kicks a goal as good and as important as he ever has. What an absolute cracker from Crisp. Single-handedly out of the middle. Collingwood respond. the milestone man. It's 5-2, 32 to 3, straight 18.
Well, if we build up the game like we did hours beforehand, Jared, it's now living up to its expectation. That was absolutely first-class centre bounce work. The Cameron tap, the running pattern of Crisp. We talk about his underrated ability. He's not underrated anymore. His last 2 or 3 years is an elite midfielder. He's first class. And to kick that goal on the run from 55 out to answer straight away was absolutely brilliant.
Ratio of disposals to goal 1-to-1 in that passage of play. There was a tap and a kick, and that was it. A great way to answer. 14 points, Sydney lead. Hickey wins the tap. Crisp and Pendlebury smashed it forwards. Lloyd came out of centre half back for the Swans. Got it to Papley under pressure. Released it backwards. Has support from Florent. Missed the kick he was after and side bottom. Took the hack out of mid-air. The territory that was on offer. Johnson kept it away from Paddy McCartan. And they doubled back to see a ball out of play.
Feels just a little bit different now, Leon, doesn't it?
It does. It sure does. I mean, the Swans' last goal was probably a little bit lucky, and Collingwood are really earning their keep at the moment.
45 metres out from the Collingwood goal. They're going to the Paddington end, to the left as we look at it in the opening term. Hickey wins it down to Rowbottom. Fashioned some sort of kick. Heaney worked underneath it by Murphy, who took the juggling mark. And he can send Collingwood back inside 50 should he choose. That certainly is signal. And the kick follows in that direction. Myercheck's trying against 4. It should have left a few at ground level, but Hayward got first access. Florent, loose hand pass, not adequately dealt with. Josh Dacos back through the traffic. Kick battered down. Lipinski had to release it in a hurry. Lloyd spins into Pendlebury, lost the footy in the process. Hayward to Florent. Hack kick outside the area. Franklin and Sidebottom close in on a bouncing footy. Franklin went the tackle on Sidebottom and took him to turf with great intent and menace. Ball it up. Throw it in. No, free. It's a Sydney free kick.
McInerney has ended up in the turf.
What's happened there?
How did that happen? That was a fair way off
illegal
the play.
shepherd. Illegal shepherd off the ball from Maynard, I think. Yeah.
There's a bit going on with Buddy and Maynard in general so far.
Sydney crowd don't like the treatment dished out by Maynard. McInerney up to Mills, who has footy in hand and a chance to put Sydney deep forward. It's a kick dragged out into the pocket. Reid, unimpeded jump at the back of the pack.
And it's always been that way with Sam Reid. If he's unimpeded, Leon, he'll take a mark, won't he?
He will every day. And look, he's had an excellent back half of the year. And he's just... Franklin has helped Reid because the focus is going on to Franklin. It was actually a 3v2 in the marking contest and no one was actually on him.
Sam Reid on the move, around the corner. The kick is true. And Heaney is right into Murphy. That's been the flashpoint. Collingwood's defence. Franklin's close to the scene. Papley, the agitator. Maynard loves a decent scrap, and Howe central to it as well. The Swans are winning the game and the fights, I reckon, for the moment. They're 20-point leaders. 6-2 to 3 straight. Robot Building Supplies scoreboard. Robot's got it.
It's a high-class game, and again, it was silly for Maynard out there giving away that free kick. It was a neutral ball, boundary throw-in, allowed Collingwood to set again, and the Swans. But that free kick, and they just worked their way around the boundary, and Reid found himself on his own. Whether the focus was on Franklin or other players and Heaney, when he has an unimpeded run, as you just said, Hutto, he'll mark everything, every day of the week.
30 years of age, Sam Reid, and playing probably his most consistent footy from when he first burst onto the scene. 38 plays 18. It's a 20-point Sydney lead late in the opening term. Parker and to go, he duel it out. Did he fall on his back? No, he didn't. Umpire calls for another ball up. 33 minutes on the Makita clock late in this opening term. All our numbers today for Safety Steel Sheds. Left-handed tap down by Darcy Cameron. Straight to McInerney. Chris put a foot out. Lucky for him, he didn't make contact. Here's Franklin. Came out on the move and the ball dropped in his lap. And he has a very realistic chance of kicking a goal here. 50 goals, 26 for the season. Such a tough night against Stephen May. But for the most, he's found himself one-on-one with Brayden Maynard, and that is quite a different proposition. He's gone all the way back to start just forward of the centre. What a way to finish this opening term. The great Lance Franklin steps forward from 40 metres out. And a rather deflating finish to that opening turn. The siren sound. The kick sagged away to the right. And the Swans will have to make do with 6 goals, 39 at quarter time. Warner, Stevens, Papley, Parker, Reid and Clark are the goal kickers. Crisp, Hoskin Elliott and Elliott for the Pies.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today. And for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Tyre Power, your matchday favourites for tyre safety.
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now. Our local manufacturers and growers produce world-class products known for their quality, safety and reliability, all while generating local jobs, supporting our communities and helping Australian families now and into the future. So look for the trusted green and gold kangaroo logo. Buy Australian now. Visit australianmade.com.au.
When you need the job done right, you want your pressure cleaner built like your team, tough and ready. Our brand new look Spitwater kicks the goals and gets the checkered flag every time by solving the problems the others can't. So when you're after the game changer, just reach for the tough and ready Spitwater pressure cleaner, made in Australia since 1982. Want to see the new Spitwater? Call 1-800-SPITWATER now or go to spitwater.com.au.
Footy is made up by lots of bite-sized plays. A good pass here, a nice kick there, maybe snaffling possession. But adding up all of these bite-sized plays can get you big wins. It's the same with Snaffle. Get stuff you want now and pay it off with bite-sized payments. Now that's a huge win. Snaffle. Grab a Snaffle wallet today at snaffle.com.au.
Terms, conditions, fees, charges and lending criteria apply. Credit provided by Walker Stores Proprietary Limited. Australian Credit Licence 393023.
Sustained performance in footy is more than just one great game. It's about playing consistently, game after game, season after season. Host Plus delivers strong performance over the long term, with top returns over 20 years. A top-performing super fund over the long term, that's a plus.
Super Ratings SR50 Balanced Index, December 2021. General advice only. Consider the relevant Host Plus PDS at TMD at hostplus.com.au before deciding if Host Plus is appropriate for you. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance.
Search, compare Host Plus today.
The Chemist Warehouse Footy Finals half-price cosmetics sale is on now. All big brand cosmetics are half price. All L'Oreal and Maybelline, half price. All Rimmel and Sally Hansen, half price. And all Revlon and Nude by Nature, half price. That's right. All big brand cosmetics are half price. So hurry into Chemist Warehouse for the Footy Finals sale today and stock up on all your favourites. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day.
For ultimate braking performance on your off-road adventures, fit Bendix Ultimate 4-wheel drive brake pads. Their high-tech ceramic formulation provides low dust and noise while delivering high-temperature stability and exceptional fade resistance. They also feature our mechanical retention system backing plate for improved pad attachment strength. Bendix Ultimate 4-wheel drive brake pads. Bendix. Put your foot down with confidence.
Safety Steel. Time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab, steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel. Time to get real.
If you're a driver, rider, pedestrian or bystander and been injured in a road accident, you could be entitled to compensation. Arnold, Thomas and Becker can advise on all your entitlements, which could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and is in addition to what is provided by the TAC. Talk directly to an Arnold, Thomas and Becker lawyer and start your claim today. Arnold, Thomas and Becker Lawyers, securing compensation for Victorians for over 50 years. And if there's no win, there's no fee. Call 1300 333 300.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now. Maccas, I'm loving it moments. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today.
Lovely hands from Heaney, but the umpire's picked out a free. Everyone stopped. Luke Parker didn't. And he's jagged one from 40 metres to get us going.
Kicks it up to Papley. Waynor stands right on the 50. Papley gives it all he's got. And it's plenty. Out into the stands.
Tap from Cameron is well read by Chris. He gets out of the front of the stoppage in his 200th game. He kicks a goal as good and as important as he ever has.
Sydney by 21 points. Hugh Sheridan's just performed the live rendition of Sweet Caroline, which sort of overwhelmed the huddles that were taking place. Leon Cameron, what are your overall thoughts?
Just Sydney's efficiency is just far greater when they go forward. Equal inside 50s. Sydney just in front in terms of stoppage and contested ball. But when they go forward, they've had 9 scoring shots out of 16 entries. Collingwood have to find a way to defend in their back 50 a little bit better than what they're doing at the moment. It was good that Collingwood settled towards the back. It hurt them that the Swans went forward and again scored a couple of easy goals. But the challenge is now on Collingwood to bridge that gap. And if you're sitting there as a Pies supporter, what you want to walk in at half-time is can we be a bit more efficient centre forward? Can we close that gap and maybe be down by 8 to 10 points at half-time?
Opening bounce of the second term for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. Cox is in the ruck against Hickey. The bounce is getting to the extremes of the circle and it will be recalled. Collingwood kicking to the Randwick end in this term. We're around the grounds for Kangan Institute. 13 tape Nature Strip made a winning return to racing just over the back earlier this afternoon. Cox smacks it forward, out in front of De Goey. Papley worked the angles. Cox came through, sharp hand pass up to Crisp. Inside 50, Filipinski. One more to Elliott to goal. Sharp move from the Pies out of the middle. Mason Cox instrumental to it. And Elliott on the snap, boots his second. It's back to 15 points on the Athena Home Loans scoreboard.
Seems like they're getting a lot more out of Cox in the centre bounce. He had a similar effort just before the end of the first quarter. He got his hands on it, but nothing came of it. But when he gets some purchase, it looks really, really dangerous. It allows De Goey to run onto the ball crisp. We know what sort of dynamic players they are. It was a really, really good effort, and that piece of play was outstanding. Win centre bounce, go in, put Sydney under the pump. Great start.
Just what they needed to try and get things going in this second term. A pause for TV commitments. Everyone was ready a little too early. And now the umpire ready to start again. Collingwood eager to go. They have one quick goal at the start of the second term. Cox against Hickey, got the tap down, trying to connect with De Goey. Instead, it's Warner angling the kick deep in the Franklin direction. Not something we've seen that often over the years, but Buddy Franklin still has ways. Got to the front, the arms are up high like a traditional forward. And with Maynard to compete against, he can probably do that a bit more today than usual. Took the mark, goes back. Couldn't convert just before the quarter time siren. But a minute and a half into the second, he most certainly can. From 25 metres out, he gets the hugs and the love of his teammate as Buddy Franklin kicks goal number 1046. And the answer was quick.
It was quick, and win centre bounce at this ground, and look what's happened. I think it's about the 4th centre bounce goal of the game thus far. And what I like about Warner is he's probably looked at it and says, whatever you can do, Collingwood, I can do better. And he's explosive speed from a centre bounce to set that up and get it deep. And we can't underestimate the kick. It was on his wrong side. He kicked right foot. It allowed Franklin to get a run at it. I'm a little bit surprised at the moment with Maynard on Franklin.
I was just going to say, are you happy with that if you're Collingwood?
I'd probably be more looking at Howe or Murphy, who are sitting up a little bit higher. And Collingwood are going to have to look at that to see whether or not that is working for them.
There's a threshold, and I reckon Maynard's right at the precipice of it. Hickey and Cox go to work. De Goey underneath. Tackled by Mills and dispossessed. Pendlebury lends a hand. It'll be balled up. So Mills is curtailing De Goey. Hickey reached around on the tap. De Goey's in the tackle of Parker this time. Goes to ground. Try again. This is near enough to the centre circles. For flight centre, your front row seat centre. Tossed up. Cox taps it out the back. Goulden had first access. Josh Dacos slays the tackle. And Goulden manages to get to his feet and pry some sort of kick away. Sidebottom didn't deal with it. Pendlebury put his body over the ball, and Crisp is able to clear it as a result. Up near half forward. He clears the contest. Myercheck's on his bike. It bounced up beautifully. Kicked to full forward, low down, well intercepted by Paddy McCartan. Not paid. Elliott got across the boot, laid the smother. The Swans are well set in the goal square. Fox was told to run it through by Lloyd. He didn't. Fox has got a problem. He's in the tackle of Johnson. Got it to his boot. Tom McCartan hasn't got it over the boundary yet. Still they scrounge away. Tom McCartan turns his way over the line and gets a reprieve.
Yes, it took them a little while to get the technique right, to get it over and to some semblance of safety, but they've done it now. And so with the score at 7-3, 45 to 4 straight, 24 in Sydney's favour. We watch the throw in. De Goey menacing on the move. Ball didn't go his way. Ricochet back to McInerney, but Sidebottom had a play and it doesn't any longer. Goulden the subject of a very vigorous tackle. He's turned in it and he looks a bit sore for all of that. I think it's Jordan De Goey and also Jamie Elliott getting to their feet after all that vigour around the football. Cox beaten by Hickey. In fact, it fell back to the 4 club man, Tom Hickey. Kicked to Franklin, took the mark and just disappeared on Maynard. Had to double back and try and find help through the middle. Mills was in a good spot. Stretches the handball to Clark. Couldn't get what he can. Belatedly got through the Murphy tackle. And Reid, anticipating, was on the lead. Takes the mark in front of Moore. And he's got a Lucy in the pocket as well. And the Magpie defence out of kilter, and it's the left-footed Goulden who marks. And very much attainable here for the Sydney Swans.
That has to be the end of Maynard on Franklin, Leon. It just has to be.
Well, the whole back seven, I think you're right, Hutto, is a little bit out of kilter. Every time the ball's going in, Sydney just looks so dangerous. Now, I know they play a system.
He's going around the corner, Goulden, and he doesn't quite get it right.
I know they play a system and they play on multiple different players, but right now it's not working and they need to make a few adjustments.
And Sydney know it, don't they? So they're working through Franklin in a way that is actually not the way they normally go through, buddy.
22-point margin. Maynard marked the kick in, kicks it long down the wing. Cameron brought it to ground. Sidebottom towed it on. It trickles toward the interchange gates. Crisp will arrive, paddle it to his own advantage. He tried the follow-up and missed. It's out of bounds. Athena Home Loans scoreboard 7-4 to 4 straight in Sydney's favour. 6 minutes into this second term. And right in front of the interchange gates for Snaffle, bite-sized payments win.
I think the move has been made.
Hickey wins it down. Cox spiked it once and twice, took good territory, but Florent is there to repel. He got it from Lloyd, off to Blakey, kicks down the wing. Collingwood should win it back. Sidebottom committed the body well. He took the mark in front of Stevens. What can the veteran winger do? Maynard makes a break up ahead of him. Sidebottom launches the footy inside 50. Myercheck couldn't get a run at it. Now Cameron was knocked out of it. We saw that just to the side of the pack. He was denied a fair fly at the pack. And it has been paid against Blakey.
Yeah.
Clear free
impeded
kick.
his run. Yeah, impeded his run.
I think Cameron made the most of it, but it was there.
And in those moments, a forward should, as soon as he get that sort of contact. Blakey stands with hands on hips. He's more aghast than I think he's got any right to be. Darcy Cameron, 45-degree angle to the right. He'll kick from 35 out. Here's a very fine set shot. This is a hostile environment. Right foot drop, punt, threads it right through. And Cameron gives it to the Sydney crowds, who had been vigorously giving it right to him.
Interesting words there, Jared. a ruckman that is such a very, very good set shot. I couldn't have said that about big Shane Mumford lining up for goal.
Not about too many, ruckman.
5 straight Collingwood, 7-4-46 Athena Home Loans scoreboard. Pay down your home loan faster with Athena Home Loans.
The challenge for Collingwood right now, they're in the game, but just that 2-3 goal margin, the only way to close that gap is to go to the next centre bounce, which Sydney have done twice now. Whenever Collingwood scored, have gone straight away and scored again. The opportunity, Collingwood, just to clog it up for the next 2 or 3 minutes and see if they get back-to-back goals and not let Sydney score quickly, will then bring them right back in.
Howe's gone to Franklin.
Yeah, okay, so the move has been made. 8 gone, second term, 16 points the diff. Hickey, clever, at ground level, follow-up ruck work, handed it off to Parker, makeshift kick forward, out of the air, Rowbottom couldn't quite handle it, hot potato crisp, decisive, gave it a side bottom off to Quaynor.
Missed the short kick to Cox that was on and instead hacked it forward, and Tom McCartan, that's his trade, the intercept mark. He lays it off to the side for Lloyds. Inside the defensive 50. Out the near side further it comes for Blakey. The bounty on the next goal is huge for Collingwood to see if they can bring 16 back to 10. They can't get their hands on the footy. Out to Mills. It was a well-shaped ball to the wing, and Mills is happy to soak up time and see what develops up ahead. He's kicked it very wide for Hickey, who arrives and takes the mark before Chris could wrench it out of his grasp.
Good to know that if I did have a heart attack in the middle of the box, Jared, you would not miss a beat and just keep on calling.
Hickey sets it up to the teeth of goal. Knocked away initially from Hayward. Parker did the crumbing, got boot to ball, but no direction about it. It skips away and out of play. You back?
Yeah, little coughing fit.
Good stuff.
All good, mate.
All good.
This is where they've got to watch Papley. They've got to make sure that a guy like Mills or Parker, who normally floats at the back of the stoppage, don't score from this forward 50 stoppage here.
There is a vacant goal square at the moment. Cox could control it against McDonald. Papley burst. Papley snapped too vigorously. It was there for him. It was obvious. Still able to win it. And that's 12 scores to 5 in this game. 7-5-47 to 5 straight 30. 10 minutes in.
The kick in is coming straight up the middle. It's a poor one. It picked out Lloyd across the front. Blakey tangled with Crisp and gave up the free kick. Not quite as obvious as the previous one.
I thought that was a bit harsh.
Chris from half back to half forward without hesitation and onto the chest of Ginnivan. He'll turn and look. Elliott's on the lead out of the pocket. Cameron's getting back to the square. Ginnivan caressed the kick into the hole and McCreary bobbed up. Good forward patterns to create this opportunity. Looking for back-to-back goals to truly eat into the deficits. Beau McCreary with the set shot. He is in the channel. It will be from 50 metres out. McCreary skips in. Let's fly. Never looked like missing. The Magpies make their move. They cut the deficit to 11 points. They have been unerringly accurate. 6 straight to the Swans, 7-5. That's on the Athena Home Loans scoreboard. Leon Cameron for buymystock.com.au.
It was classic Collingwood. Yes, there was a little bit of luck on the crisp free kick. But just the confidence from Nick Dacos to take that kick 55 out from a kick in to try to hit Crisp going away from play. Ginnivan, unbelievable decision to go inside forward 50. And it's the back-to-back goal we spoke about before. All of a sudden, 11 points and the crowd has come alive. Right back in it.
It was a big call from the umpire too. It was a very aggressive kick, as you said, from Nick Dacos. Still not sure it was a wise one, but turned out to be productive. Back to 11 points. Collingwood fans sensing their cue to get involved. Cameron out of the ruck, beaten though by Hickey. Onto the left boot. Franklin looms, and he can do it against Jeremy Howe as well. He takes the mark. And he's leading the Sydney response right now in this second term. And all is quiet as the champ goes back. Not much of an angle to negotiate. Not that far away from where he kicked goal number 1,000. When they all came over the fence, they'll stay in their seat, but they will cheer just as loudly for his second. 2 goals in 15 minutes in this quarter from Lance Buddy Franklin, and they have been 2 steadying goals. 8-5-53 to 6 straight 36. And that is all on the Athena Home Loan scoreboard.
Before we get to Franklin, we knew he would respond after 2 weeks ago, and he looks really, really good on top of his game. He had a really couple of hard hits in the first quarter, but his contested marking and his jumping at the ball is first class at the moment. The disappointing part from Collingwood was that centre bounce was really poor. And again, another centre bounce goal. Cox comes in, and right now I think they should be rucking him as much as they possibly can, because when he's in there, it seems to be a little bit more even.
Hickey's influence is proving profound. AFL Nation for McDonald's. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today. Cox and Reid went to work. Warner won the clearance, but it's a flopped kick. It's coming back. It's a free kick to Warner. It would have been an interception to Bianco. But Warner gets a fresh go. He veers out to the right and sends the Swans in deep. Reid and McDonald are both in the pack. Howe made the spoiler, telling Spoilert that all the way into the pocket and out of play. The way this ruck duel is shaping up, it will reignite the Brodie-Grundy conversation when you're getting so badly beaten in the centre of the ground. Cox against Heaney in the ruck. Cox knocked it straight down to McInerney, who feeds it out to Mills, kicks the Swans to full forward. Franklin's, I hope he's got 3 against him in there. That left Rowbottom unmarked in for a goal. Franklin is drawing a crowd, and the Swans are feeding off it. Back-to-back goals in no time, and the margin is 23 points again. 9-5 to 6 straight. AFL Nation for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety.
I mean, 14 scoring shots to, I think their inside 50s is about 22, 23 at the moment, Jared. It's just, again, every time it just looks so dangerous. And we talked about Franklin drawing a crowd. 3 Collingwood defenders went, didn't put the ball over. Rowbottom runs in, kicks an easy goal. He's had a big game, Franklin. I know it's only 2 goals on the scoreboard, and it looks like, it could be a 3 or 4 goal return for the game, but every time he's around the football, something is happening in a positive for the Sydney Swans.
I wonder if more has to go to him ultimately. Back in the middle, 59 plays 36. Reid rucking against Mason Cox, who got up early, too early. Reid had a chance just to snaffle it and bolt. He couldn't hang on. Now Rowbottom's the subject of a tackle. The ball went loose. Crisps gets it deep. Elliott can run back at the ball. He crashed the pack. Fox needed nimble hands. He was just able to do enough. Tom McCartan edged the kick wide. Murphy trying to spoil Goulden. Late dive, galley-style catch. Down low. Was able to cling on. Takes the mark. Eases back into the field of play. Handball to Mills. I don't think that was really part of the plan. And then a dart into the middle to Warner, who nonchalantly takes the mark, points to the spot where he thinks Ginnivan should stand. Goes back after all that time and assessment and goes short and wide to Dylan Stevens. Most of the play and players are ahead of him. Franklin is deep. Reid has drifted as well. It's set up in front of those 2. Who wants to fly? But he does. But Cox, commanding style, came out and took the mark. Something about preliminary finals and Mason Cox. Stands between fullback and centre halfback. Drives his kick where he pointed out to the wing. Myercheck was on the same page. Leads up and takes a well-earned mark. Slows the pace down a little more. Noble gives him an overlap option. He ignores that. He's got longer plans. No, well, he spotted Lipinski. Loose and free enough to hit on the logo. Set sail into the forward pocket. Not much of a marking presence. Off the pack, Elliott bullied his way through. Turned back in the right. Didn't quite have the leverage to score, though. And Blakey takes the saving mark. Close attendance from McCreary wasn't enough.
It stays 23 points in the Swans' favour. Blakey from the last line dabs it into the back pockets where Rampy takes the mark and Ginnivan overstepped the mark.
It's a rule that players don't understand. That short kick is to either left or the right of the goal square, and you run over the 10-metre line, it's an automatic 50.
Sometimes, though, the umpire will actually tell you to come back, won't they?
Rampy to Blakey and now to Mills. It's a promising build-up. It's all in the Franklin direction. Howe across the front to spoil. It's left the Crummers there again. Stevens took them on. Hand passed it away to Hayward. Fashioned a kick to the teeth of goal where Moore dropped the mark, and off his fingertips it is through for a rushed behind. 4-goal margin in the Swans' favour on the Athena home loan scoreboard.
The umpire must have judged that Ginnivan actually went over the initial mark rather than just the 9. The ball was lifted up to a wing. Hoskin Elliott didn't mark it. He made a reasonable fist of it, although Josh Dacos, you can't say the same thing. Crumbs went to Warner and he knew where to kick it straight away. And that was to Tom Papley, who takes the mark 50 metres out. Even he doesn't think he can kick it. He can connect with Logan McDonald. Possibly an important fingertip from Jeremy Howe. Whatever the case, McDonald couldn't hang on, and it slips out of bounds in the forward pocket. 9-6-60 to 6 straight 36. The Swans favour Athena home loan scoreboard. Big effort from the boundary umpire. Heaves it back into play. Cox got the tap. Couldn't keep it away from Papley, who tried to get his way through. Took a long time. Pleas are made, but the umpire says no, it's a ball up only.
Swans are stoking up again. 40 out from goal. Cox knocked it down underfoot. Heaney dragged off the initial fly kick. Goulden lost it after getting it from Mills. Crisp with a relieving hand pass found Noble. He needed the kick to Hoskin Elliott. Bounced in the field of play. Shoveled the hand pass off to Josh Dacos. It's haphazard. 3 against 2 in the air. The Swans bring it to ground. Warner to Mills. Out in front of Goulden. Pokes it in the Heaney direction. Moore gallant from the side. Papley tried the mid-air kick out near the boundary. He missed, and it's over the line. Right forward pocket, repeat entries for the Swans. They have a 24-point lead. The sun has set over the back of the members' pavilion. Heaved into play. Cox rucking against Heaney again. Knocked it down. Lipinski goes to work. Risky kick near the goal front. Noble worked it away to Moore. Bianco in a big one-on-one, which he lost to McInerney, but McInerney draped the arm over the shoulder and conceded the free kick. So Bianco will breathe a sigh of relief as a result. It's not much of a kick on the way out. He sliced it near the boundary. Off hands. It is out of play. Near enough to the interchange gates for Snaffle. Buy now with bite-sized payments. Huge win.
Plenty of work being done by the physios with Sam Reid. Not too far away from where the boundary umpire is stationed. Left half forward for the Sydney Swans. Hickey got the tap. To go, he denied access. He turns tackler on Rowbottom, who's working away manfully. It'll be another ball up. Cox went up. Was he restrained? He was. Illegally advantaged. Taken, leveraged immediately. To go, he bundled it up. Off to Josh Dacos. Adventurous kick across centre half forward. Knew what he was doing. Hoskin Elliott almost within range, but he spotted McCreery, who has a habit of charging forward and just dropping into the space.
They just look so much more dangerous with Cox in the ruck.
Yep.
And that run and that ability to try to bring the Dacos brothers into the game. DeGoey took advantage of the free kick. Now, Cameron's had a fantastic year, Darcy Cameron, but maybe just this day it's best to rush Cox as your number one ruck.
The 21-year-old South Australian, Pro McCreery. 12 goals, 11 for the year. None more important than that one. Fired straight through from 40 metres out. And Nick Dacos gets around his teammates and tries to rev them up like he's the captain or the vice-captain, and he's been there for 10 seasons. That's the air that he carries. And just sensing that Collingwood, at the very least, have got to stay in this contest, and they're doing that by the virtue of accurate kicking at the moment. 7 straight 42 to 9-6-60.
It was just wonderful stoppage play, and Collingwood pounced on that. The bold kick from Josh Dacos to Hoskin Elliott, a 50-metre kick across goal on a diagonal, and just to lower their eyes. They seem so much more potent when they're lowering their coming inside 50. Just forces the Swans defenders to not drop off.
Leon Cameron for Buy My Stock, buymystock.com.au. McCreery's second of the term. Margin is 18 points. Cox gets his hand to it first in the ruck. Lipinski was wrapped up by Warner, the two number ones in close proximity. Tossed up, secondary ball up. Knocked out the sides. Bianco was waiting for it. Gives Collingwood a chance inside the 50. Paddy McCartan kept it away from Myercheck. Stevens swamped underfoot. It'll need to be balled up. 50 out from goal. Bit of push and shove in the aftermath. It has been ill-tempered at stages with the stakes so high. Hickey and Cox go to work. No decisive tap. Ginnivan worked underneath. Played for the free kick. Didn't get it. Let's try again. Stuck in a series of stoppages. Cox front on with Hickey. Knocked the way of Rowbottom. Kicked down the wing. Quaynor had hold of Heaney the whole way through that contest. The umpire couldn't help but pay the free kick. Heaney's ball, defensive side of the middle. No one standing the mark. Heaney doesn't take advantage initially. Now he strides forwards and lets fly inside the 50. Warner at the back of Elliott. He had no defender there. Edged Elliott underneath and will get himself a look at a second.
Disappointing from Collingwood. I mean, Elliott pushed down hard, really emptied out really well. He started on ball at that centre bounce. Now, whether there was a handover or not, but just the size difference in that marking duel, we know Warner's very, very good in the air.
From 40 metres out, Chad Warner at the right-hand post is the wrong side of it. It is a behind and a 19-point lead.
Some safety steel shed stats. Nick Blakey leading the intercept possessions with 5. Buddy, the score involvements with 5. Crisp, the contested possessions and clearances. And Mills with 16 touches overall is number 1 so far. Beautiful kick in from Nick Dacos. And the hair flowing on Darcy Moore as he accepted at left half back. But lets everyone get where they want to go ahead of the plays. So he's happy to switch play via Jeremy Howe. The instructions to take out the middleman and kick long to side bottom. McInerney was able to get there. Could hear the footsteps coming. He made the spoil. There's a bit of hanging on for dear life.
And a 50.
And now 50. As the ball wasn't returned.
I think it might have been socket away by side bottom.
Well, how critical that is likely to be. Instead of kicking it up into the forward mouth, the goal mouth from 60 out, Papley makes that glorious walk. And really, it's a pretty simple occasion right now. He's only 20 to 25 metres out. Not even a 45-degree angle. And the Sydney Swans fans are ready to erupt one of their favourites, who can celebrate as good as anybody in the competition. And he's going to share the moment with Braden Maynard. Close and personal as he kicks his second. And again, Sydney have the answers. 10-7-67 to 7 straight 42. A self-inflicted wound. We await the replay.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, to keep pegging that gap, you know, they're back to about that 18, 17 point mark, and then all of a sudden just allow Sydney to get another one. We gave away the free kick. I think it was Noble.
Is that all it was?
It was Noble.
Just tapped
who
away.
Tapped the ball away and didn't pick it up. It's the hardest thing when you've got a crowd of 50,000. Sometimes you can't hear that whistle.
It felt very deliberate by Noble, and he got nailed for it in the moment. 25-point margin, bounces outside the circle for Flight Centre, your front row seat centre. And Maynard's having a tricky sort of night, the All-Australian. He's down on the bench, taking a breather. Cox went up, Hickey won the tap. Propelling himself through as Josh Dacos went without the footy. Rowbottom got a kick away, and it lands with Heaney. It was a fluky ball that hung in the air. Noble had committed at the back of the contest, and Heaney was able to lurch forward into the drop zone.
And Papley trying to do a little bit of a Luke Parker to Dylan Shield, perhaps.
He's got Quaynor in his sights. I think he's happy to agitate anybody he comes across at the moment. Isaac Heaney So this is for a game-high lead at 31 points. Heaney, set sail, got it. It's out beyond 5 goals. And in this sort of environment, it is going to take some winding back. Maybe the best measure is 18 scoring shots to 7.
Yeah, in the end.
Sydney 11-7-73 to Collingwood 7 straight 42. Athena Home Loans scoreboards. Pay down your home loan faster with Athena Home Loans.
And unfortunately for Collingwood, they just don't have an answer with their back seven. Every time the ball is going in, and part of finals footy is you need to stop the opposition from scoring. Yes, you need team defence, but your back seven needs to get it done. And right now, that's not happening.
They've kicked 73 points and there's still 4 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Extraordinary high scoring. This is going to take Craig McRae's absolute best. We know he can conjure a miracle, but that's where it's at right now. Crisp edges a kick forward for Collingwood. First accent was Florent, couldn't quite take it. Back up from Lloyd, socking it back to the centre of the ground. Warner trapped it. Warner's running towards goal. He sets it up instead to the top of the square. Papley got crushed. No whistle. Murphy was able to take it for Collingwood, send it Howe's way by hand. Then the kick along the wing. It clean bowled Cameron. Still an opportunity charging forward, but Lipinski couldn't stop Fox, who takes it over the boundary line and out of bounds into safety. Replay showed there was claims of unrealistic attempt by Noble, who tried to spoil but didn't make contact. That left Papley on the ground. Hickey taps to the back of the pack. Lipinski read it best of all. Gave it back to Cox. He just lugs a high, wide kick. Johnson, we haven't seen a lot of. He's beaten in the air by Paddy McCartan again this time. It bounced back in play, but only momentarily. Collingwood get a little closer to goal. But the boundary umpire will have to do his thing first. Cox versus Hickey. 45 around from goal. They're more worried about each other than anything. And Cox has given away the free, or is it off? It's maybe against DeGoey. It's coming back to Ollie Florent. He spears the kick out wide for Warner. Had a look that it was Scott Penderby. Left him in the lurch and then kicked to half forward. It was a challenging one for McDonald to get on the end of. He kept it alive. Papley had a quick look and he resisted the temptation to snap. Maybe he should have, because it's cut off by Lipinski. All sorts of possibilities. Didn't account for a fumble from Hoskin Elliott. Time was on his side. Now he guides it to half forward. Elliott takes the mark. He was impetuous, but he controlled the impulses. Goes short. And he finds Lipinski, so it's a measured build-up. Back through the middle to Nick Dacos. What can his tremendous skills deliver? He went short to Elliott, who summed it all up and blasted goal. But he's tugged it left. And their first behind comes 31 minutes into the second quarter, and they really needed a goal.
How did Papley not come away with a goal? He was drowning in choices.
Small forwards, absolute cup of tea.
So not as bad as it might have been for Collingwood, despite the lament of the miss. Lloyd with the kick in, perfectly weighted ball for Mills. 2 minutes to go in the half on the Makita Rule the outdoors clock. Mills likes the look of Warner, who's more and more influential. Murphy arrived late, got it out of his grasp, and over the boundary for a throw-in. They flash the 2-minute sign down on the bench for Snaffle bite-sized payments win.
Glorious shots going around the country too. The SCG at this time of the night. What a sight.
Cox clean down to Crisp, off for Lipinski. Now to Josh Dacos. Collingwood inside 50. Elliott's going to be the leaper. Had plenty of company in the air. Goulden ran into Elliott. That was a ball and all tackle. Fox to Florence. The Swans trying to get it out of the defensive area. Tom McCartan's kick is not much chop, although Pendlebury dropped the juggling mark, and that's trouble. Hickey away to Rowbottom. Franklin not favoured by the kick. Moore made the spoil. They all lost sight of it. Rowbottom wraps up Pendlebury. Got him high. So the Collingwood skipper saved a blast or two. An attacking kick inboard. Chopping at the arms on Crisp against Haywards.
No love lost between Warner and Murphy too. Keep an eye on that.
Crisp with a chance to put this at the top of the goal square. Johnson leads to the front. Cox flew in the middle, got hands to it, couldn't hang on. Paddy McCartan caught down by 2. Ball threatened to spill clear. It never did. Ball it up in the goal mouth.
Just need to clunk it, didn't he, Cox?
Yep.
Just hands are on it.
Inside the final minute of the first half, Cox got the tap. Elliott tried to make the play, but couldn't take the footy with him. Instead, it sent end on end out wide by Florent. Retrieved, though, by Noble. Tried to hit Chris, but fell short of him, which allowed Parker to defend. Now, he's dived on the footy here, Luke Parker, and he's going to be penalised for doing so because he couldn't release it. So they get a late look. Lots of finger pointing going on. You stand there. You go there. That's your position as the Swans look to defend this one. Nick Dacos with the touch for Degoe, but Goulden was ready. Rowbottom took a step further than he could have. Had to be penalised. Everyone thought it. The umpires looked at each other. No one was prepared to blow the whistle. And they are seething, the Collingwood fans. That was holding the ball every day of the week except a Saturday in September, apparently. Out of the pack, Heaney's kick is wiped away. Johnson flew like he was trying to take mark of the year, but it didn't come from a kick. That's outside the defensive 50. Now it's picked up by Franklin. He's stopped dead by Quaynor. The siren sounds. That was paid holding the ball. That's not the one they wanted. It is half-time at the SCG. And the Sydney Swans, even though there'll be a kick after the siren, only one man could kick a goal from there. And Malcolm Blight is a little too old, and he's not playing for Collingwood. Isaac Quaynor will have to kick this 65 metres and then some. He's rolled out the barrel, and he's actually got a fair bit of it, but it was never online. It ends out of bounds on the full. And the tempers are flaring a little. I don't think it's going to amount to anything significant, but some disgruntled pies out there. Things haven't gone their way. Collective high fives from the Sydney Swans. They have posted a huge first half score, and really they're unders for where they might be. 11-7-73 to 7-1-43.
Goal kickers Papley and Franklin have kicked 2 each, with singles to Warner, Stevens, Clark, Heaney, Rowbottom, Reid and Parker. While for Collingwood, 2 for Elliott, 2 for McCreary, and 1 each to Cameron, Crisp and Hoskin Elliott. On the Safety Steel Sheds stat sheet, more than 50 years and Steel going strong. Jordan Degoe's had 4 disposals to half-time. He is getting the Mills treatments. Sydney by 30. We'll get Leon Cameron to put his thoughts in order and detail it all for you next in the half-time floor show. The Swans by 30 points as they look to complete the billing in the 2022 Grand Final against Geelong.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for McDonald's. The Monopoly game at Macca's is back.
So if you're looking for a credit card and still hunting for incredible value, ditch the magnifying glass and check out the Kogan Money credit card. There's no annual fee, plenty of tantalising rewards, and if you meet the spend requirements, you could earn $400 in credit to spend on Kogan.com. Make the switch to a great value credit card. Jump onto koganmoney.com.au/radio. Offer ends September 29. T's and C's credit criteria, other fees and charges apply. Credit provider National Australia Bank Limited.
What's one good reason for installing an access hatch in the roof?
Escaping a zombie attack?
Or a safer way to do roof repairs?
That makes sense.
Roofing and Sheet Metal Centre make custom roof hatches from Colorbond, zinc or gal. They're great for commercial or residential roofs that need regular maintenance.
Or an escape hatch.
Roofing and Sheet Metal Centre. Everything sheet metal from the roof down. Visit rscentre.com.au today.
G'day, it's Paddy Dangerfield here. You know how much I love fishing. There's nothing better than having something big on the hook. But what I really want to catch these days is a next-gen Ford Ranger. Bigger, smarter and tougher than ever before. This is the truck everyone wants to land, and they're arriving now. So you can finally snag one of these magnificent beasties for yourself. Next-gen Ford Ranger. Everything you need for work and play.
It's time to clean up your career and finally be your own boss with a guaranteed income. Clean It has been a leader in commercial property services for over 30 years. And now they're growing with new franchises right around Australia. With a huge contract base, including graffiti removal, high-pressure cleaning, building washing, and more, you'll be backed by an established brand with unlimited earning potential. Download your Clean It franchise info pack at cleanit.com.au. That's KLEENIT.
Get your groove on and experience the vibe, the style and the food at the Groove Train. It's more than a vibrant cafe by day that transforms into a wood-fired restaurant and bar by night. It's a local urban dining experience, celebrating an abundance of locally sourced produce, with flexible dining areas suited to any taste and all occasions. The Groove Train is the place to enjoy the company of friends over great food, drinks and conversation. Find your nearest location at groovetrain.com.au.
Whether you've filled up and gone bush, cruising down the coast, topping up your electric vehicle for the weekly commute,
all charged up and ready to go,
or taking the little nippers to the beach. With Amplify Premium Fuels and AmpCharge electric vehicle charging network rolling out across Australia, Ampol powers our way of life. Ampol, Australia's own.
Calling all builders. Visit iCanWin.com.au for your chance to win a corporate suite for you and your mates to watch your AFL or NRL team in style. Plus receive a $25,000 advertising package with SEN. Thanks to Beaumont Tiles. That's iCanWin.com.au.
Wood heaters, gas log fires, factory direct. Illusion and Ultimate's biggest ever end of season mega sale with prices slashed. Wood heaters from $5.99. Gas log fires from $19.99. Dandenong, Epping and North Geelong. Illusionfires.com.au.
The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse Sale, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m, 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. Buy direct from brands such as Kookaburra, Grey Nichols, Gun & More, New Balance, Asics and more. Save over $500 on top grade senior bats. There's cricket bats from $19, up to 50% off helmets, plus up to 70% off gloves, pads, bags and everything you need for cricket. The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse Sale, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. View online at thecricketsale.com.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Motorola. Check out the latest smartphones from motorola.com.au.
Hello, Moto.
Maccas, I'm loving it moments. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today.
It's Warner angling the kick deep in the Franklin direction. Couldn't convert just before the quarter-time siren, but a minute and a half into the second, he most certainly can.
Ginnivan caressed the kick into the hole and McCreery bobbed up. McCreery skips in, lets fly, never looked like missing. The Magpies make their move. Feeds it out to Mills, kicks the Swans to full forward. Franklin's, I hope he's got three against him in there. That left row bottom unmarked in for a goal. Franklin is drawing a crowd and the Swans are feeding off it. It's Sydney by 30 points at half-time, 11-7-73 to Collingwood 7-1-43. As we hit the half-time floor show for Choices Flooring, see your floor change in an instant with Roomview.
The Choices Flooring half-time floor show. See your floor change in an instant with Roomview.
Leon Cameron, how are you seeing it?
Well, sometimes we can complicate the game and come up with myths of what's actually happening. There's one thing that's happening here right now, and that is 30 inside 50s each. When it goes inside the Swans forward 50, they score, and they're beating the back seven of Collingwood. And that's Papley, that's Franklin, that's Heaney, that's Hayward, whoever it is, they are winning contests down there, whether it's in the air or on the ground. They've had 9 inside 50 marks, and they're on track for 15 or 16, which is a big return. When it goes down the other end and it goes inside Collingwood's forward 50, I know they've scored 7 goals, 1, but the Swans defenders are on top of their opponents. Elliott has probably popped up a little bit, but Johnson and Ginnivan have been very quiet. Cox has had to go into the ruck and probably hasn't had that dominant look as a key forward. Myercheck has been probably drawn up the ground a little bit. And it's a classic case of this nitty-gritty Swans team that are not giving up 1 inch. Now, along the journey, there'll be, the Swans are in front, +5 in clearances, and their contest method is a little bit better, +17. But a lot of that will be forward of the play. My suggestion, if you're sitting in there and you're a Collingwood supporter, is you have to get the Dacos brothers into the game. You're not going to be able to fix the back seven all at once. I would be challenging the back seven to tighten up a little bit and play a little bit more of that life and death footy. Maybe a Hoskin Elliott back. I know he's had some moments here as a forward. Switch Nick Dacos to a high half forward flank. Throw something back at Sydney. You've got to somehow try to bridge this 5-goal gap. There's no next week, and so if they can come in at that three-quarter time mark, even at 18 points or even better at 12 points, that's their only opportunity to get back into this game. Because if it goes to the script that what we're seeing at the moment, every time that Collingwood will score, the Swans will score twice. And fortunately or unfortunately, whoever you're barracking for, that is what we're seeing here at the moment. And for a glimmer of hope, the last 7 or 8 minutes of the first quarter, and then when they got to 11 points here in the second. But as soon as Collingwood got on a little bit of roll, the Swan says enough. And that is the sign of an unbelievably good, well-drilled side. We've seen what's happened last night with Geelong. This side is meticulous at everything they do. And so if they get something thrown at them, they'll screw their guts up and go, no, we're going to crack straight back at you.
18 scores from 30 inside 50s as you identify the stats for Safety Steel Sheds designed to save, built to last. The individuals who's running hot for Ream. Ask your plumber to install a Ream steady, hot and strong. Mills has had 17 while shutting out the Goey, who's had 4. Warner's had 15 and becoming more and more influential. Florence had 12, Blakey 11 and Lloyd 10, while Crisp leads the way for Collingwood with 15, Lipinski 13, Pendlebury 11 and Nick Dacos 10. Who's your player of the day so far for Henley Homes? Now selling in Mickleham and Clyde North. Henley.com.au.
Oh, look, I love what Mills does. And look, he's got parts of De Goey, and then the other parts Parker goes to De Goey as well. So it's probably joint. And then at times Mills will roll over to a Crisp as well. So they've got this joint. It's not a hard 1v1. There's a hard team effort from Sydney's mids to nullify De Goey. And they're all taking their turns. Pendlebury was off the chain in the first quarter. Rowbottom comes in and says, I'll take 10 minutes out of my game and make sure that Pendlebury's under control. So they've got that discipline to play two-way footy. I love what Mills is doing. He's setting the standards. He's the captain, and everything he's doing at the moment is turning to gold. He does the hard stuff, but equally he can play some really good offense. I love Cheeky Papley. I mean, we all like that, whenever Collingwood are making a mistake in their back line, he's there at them. Franklin's there at them. And you can clearly see up the ground, as Hutto mentioned, Sydney just want to get in there as quick as they possibly can now.
Unmissable moments for Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you drink wise. Now, a lot of the game has revolved around Franklin. And the weird part of that dynamic, Leon, it's almost as if Collingwood let the game revolve around Franklin. They went at him physically. They tried to rough him up. They committed huge numbers to him. And it hurt them. And then he kicks a couple of goals as well.
And people are going to look back and say, is it the Franklin of old where he takes a mark from 65, reels around and kicks a goal? He's not physically capable of doing that over and over again now at his age. But what he is capable of doing is drawing a crowd, as you mentioned. He is drawing a big crowd, and they have overplayed it. Whether they were worried because of his final 2 weeks ago and said, let's not let Lance Franklin get off the chain, probably the matchups weren't as particularly. I was a little bit surprised that Maynard probably spent so much time on him. I thought their system probably would have overrode that, and if Murphy came to him or more. I mean, they have to have a look at it now because he's now got his tail up. He has kicked 2 good goals from taking some really good, strong contested marks. But right now they are overplaying him, and if they don't clear the area or mark the ball when they go 2v1 in Franklin, then Papley and Heaney and Hayward are having an absolute ball. We see Rowbottom run into an easy goal just at the back end of that second quarter. So, well done to Lance Franklin. He would have come in. He would have been, as we said, he would have had a bit of venom in his step to prove everyone wrong. I'm not done. This is what I'm capable of doing. and he's copped some really good physical abuse from Collingwood, but he has stood up in a big final, which we shouldn't be surprised about.
Yeah. For Drink Wise, choose to drink wise. And in there, the coaching moves so far for TC Boxes, quality built trays, canopies and toolboxes. So Maynard started on him. Howes had to go to him, and you still sort of wait and wonder on more, as McDonald's not any sort of factor in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I think they've probably got to make that call and say, do we move more out to Franklin and then or trust that Murphy or Howe back on McDonald or Reid and go that way? Now, if that hurts them, it hurts them. But don't die wondering, make a couple of moves. I love what Sydney have done in terms of they've gone Clark with Nick Dacos. It's a huge challenge. We've got to remember it's Nick Dacos' first year, and I think we expect the world from him. That's why I would try to move him to get him into the game. And when he tries to go to someone else, they take him deep. And so they've clearly had a really good plan. I think that move has worked really, really well for the Swans.
And he is our MEGT Rookie of the Year, your local apprenticeship experts, Nick Dacos. So they had their troubles in round 22 and ended up in the midfield. So he's been thrown a challenge by the Swans that few other teams have been able to conjure against him. MEGT supporting employers and apprentices for more than 40 years, called 13 MEGT. Tonight around the grounds, in fact, just over the back for Kangan Institute. The heroes are made at Kangan Institute. Kangan.edu.au, RTO 3077, the Sharks and the Rabbitohs in an NRL semi-final. That's the halftime floor show thanks to Choices Flooring. It's the Swans by 30 points over Collingwood.
A sports news update for Rolled. Eat good with Rolled. It's fast, fresh Vietnamese.
I'm Victoria Raptis with your sports update for Rolled. Geelong is through to the AFL Grand Final, defeating Brisbane by 71 points. In tennis, Australia is through to the quarterfinals of the Davis Cup. Leighton Hewitt's men will battle the hosts on Sunday. In the Premier League, Fulham overcame Nottingham Forest 3-2 and Aston Villa defeated Southampton 1-0. In the NRL, the Raiders' season is over after suffering a 40-4 thrashing at the hands of Parramatta. Australia has beaten France by 4 points in a test match ahead of the Women's Basketball World Cup. And Aussie golfer Cameron Smith shot a 6 under 66 to climb up the leaderboard on opening day of the Live Series.
A sports news update for Rolled. Fast, fresh Vietnamese. You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Motorola. Check out the latest smartphones from motorola.com.au.
Hello, Moto.
The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse Sale, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m, 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. Buy direct from brands such as Kookaburra, Grey Nichols, Gun & More, New Balance, Asics and more. Save over $500 on top grade senior bats. There's cricket bats from $19, up to 50% off helmets, plus up to 70% off gloves, pads, bags and everything you need for cricket. The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse Sale, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. View online at thecricketsale.com.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Booked a holiday? Visiting friends interstate? Melbourne Airport is happy to be welcoming travellers back. Nothing beats the convenience, flexibility and great value when you park at Melbourne Airport. From just $12 a day, the Value Car Park offers exceptional value. And only a few minutes walk to check-in, Melbourne Airport's Terminal Car Park offers absolute convenience. Park with ease and peace of mind with Melbourne Airport. Book online today and save at melbourneairport.com.au.
You wouldn't operate a chainsaw blindfolded. You wouldn't ride your dirt bike blindfolded. And you wouldn't walk on your roof blindfolded. Yet too many people dig without searching before you dig online first. Because if you don't search first, you're digging blind. Avoid high-pressure gas mains and high-voltage electricity cables every time. Search before you dig online every time, and never dig blind.
Hello, bank.
I've just seen that Athena doesn't charge fees, do you?
Fees? Yes, please. We got all the fees. Application fees, valuation fees, pens on strings fees.
Why should you be charged for being a customer? At Athena, we don't charge fees, so you can pay off your home loan faster.
Service fee, redraw fee, exit fee.
Exit fee. I'll pay that one.
Rudely hanging up fee.
Fee-free home loans do exist at athena.com.au. Athena, love us and leave us. Standard credit criteria, terms, conditions and government charges apply.
Sometimes needing new tyres can catch us by surprise. That's why Tyre Power gives you the power of Zip Pay and Zip Money. It means you can get what you need now, get back on the road safely and pay for it later, taking advantage of the interest-free periods. So if you need new tyres or mechanical repairs, don't wait till it gets worse. Get them now with Zip Pay or Zip Money at Tyre Power. No fuss, no wait, no worries. Terms and conditions apply. So visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner-operator.
Shirley bought car insurance awarded for being very cheap. But come claim time, Shirley realised that choosing a bargain can end up being very, very expensive. Yes, this is the sound of bargain regret. Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you. TMD also available.
Police. They're always out there, and every police car is a booze bus. Drink drivers face large fines and loss of licence.
Because we will catch you, anywhere, anytime.
A message from the TAC. Drive safely, for everyone.
It's time to wake up to sleep at the 40 Winks famous 40-hour sale. Get up to 40% off store-wide only for 40 hours, with up to 40% off leading brand mattresses. Hurry, the famous 40-hour sale ends Sunday. Exclusions and T's and C's apply. 40 Winks, serious about sleep.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Guys go forward and Cameron takes the mark. Darcy Cameron, and he can line up for goal here from 25 to 30 metres out. That's where the man on the mark is. He's gone back a long way. If ever a team needed a goal to get things going at the start of the third term. The darkness of night and the bright lights of the SCG. Too much for Darcy Cameron. He nursed that one, and there was no one back there for Collingwood. And well, it's a line ball call. The umpire said it was just over the line for a behind, and they've been pretty accurate, Collingwood, but deserted Darcy Cameron there. Just hesitant on the kick, and Lloyd's going to bring it back into play.
He will pump the hand pass out to Tom McCartan, who squeezed the kick. Ginnivan got across his boot and might have impacted on it. Heaney towed it up to Mills, who had to release it in the tackle. They pile in from all sorts of angles. It'll be balled up against the boundary. So Nick Dacos, Maynard, Crisp leave the scene. Cox pats it down near Crisp, tried to get it onto his boot. Mills ran interference and he gets the hold in the ball call as Crisp didn't get it from hand to foot. He thought that he could drop it over the boundary.
Swans going to make their sub.
So we think that's Sam Reid?
Yeah, we do. We just seen him just at the halftime break talking to the physios and the footy manager, so we don't know what's happened, but in comes Campbell into the game. Hutto.
Mills crafted the kick to Heaney, who attacks now through Stevens. Stevens, without hesitation, places it up to Parker. 55 metres out from goal.
Oh.
He uses it short. They were all unmarked, and Robbie Fox...
I bet you wouldn't have called him inside forward 50.
No, he is going to line up for his first goal of the season.
Pies' defence, it was one of those teasing distance, and they didn't think it was far enough to be paid a mark, but the umpire did.
I wonder what his craft is like around the sticks. We know what it's like in defence. Robbie Fox from 48 metres out. It is near side and won't come back. Behind a piece at the start of the term on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard.
He'll be staying in defence for now. Nick Dacos going to kick it out wide. Headed for Darcy Cameron. It dropped a little shallow, and Tom McCartan was the first to make the necessary adjustment. And he takes a good mark, falling to the ground. Gerard will have an update for us for Snaffle. Bite-sized payment wins on the Sam Reid situation. McDonald is deep and he came out and he snatched it out of the air, and all the Collingwood defenders could do is look at each other and try and determine who is to blame. So McDonald has not had to do much. All the focus, all the attention has been on Lance Buddy Franklin. But this young man, who might have a much more prominent role next year at the age of 20, should convert here. And the crowd will tell you that he did. A joyous jig for Logan McDonald as he puts his first on the board, and Sydney have 12. And the gap widens to 36. 12-8-80 to 7-2-44.
It was just disappointing defensive craft. I mean, Cox was down there as the ruckman in the hole. Murphy didn't get a good jump at it. Moore didn't get a good jump at it. Great contested mark by young McDonald, and that'll no doubt give him an enormous amount of confidence as he's had a pretty quiet first half. But again, when the ball goes in there, it just looks like they're going to score every time. And, Collingwood have to find a way to halve those contests or get it through for a point.
Sam Reid's issue is an adductor, we are being told. So subbed out at half-time, and he becomes a concern for grand final week, because that is where the Swans look like they're headed. 36-point margin. Cox wins the tap down, hacked out of midair by Pendlebury. Florent came up to attack the footy. Josh Dacos came at him, wins the hard ball. Didn't do much with it though. Mills out the back to Lloyd. High ball into centre field. Quaynor and Papley. Papley too easily got rid of Quaynor, takes the mark. He's going to kick out in front of Franklin. He'll let it bounce. It bounces back past him. Moore's gone to Franklin at the start of the third term. Moore committed himself, barged in, got caught with the footy, shoveled it away to Maynard. Kick on the way out's not much chop, and Papley chops it off. He won't be able to score himself. It'll be for the deep targets. He placed it poorly, 30 metres out from goal, and Maynard took the intercepting mark.
With emphasis, got up, took the kick. Short to Crisp. They're going to have to build it up gradually here. Up to the wing for De Goey. They've got to try and get the footy to him, build his confidence. Takes a mark behind the wing, turns onto the right. Heads in the Darcy Cameron direction. He looked a bit bewildered. It went beyond him. Taken by Florent. Snaps it back to the wing. They were down a player. Goulden was busy being interchanged, and Quaynor had easy access. He swings at the centre half back. Tries to take the initiative. Moore's bounding away. Has a bounce. Involves Nick Dacos by hand. It slowed the progress a little. His kick didn't quite connect with Pendlebury. Chris did his best, but Rowbottom barged through. It was a tackle without the footy going the way of Jack Crisp. 65-70 from goal. The front of the centre circles. He decided not to go by hand to Maynard. Instead, he's just got to try and find an answer deep. Softened it for Ginnivan and Elliott. Well, he did fool them all. It was worth a crack because it seemed like most of the long options were covered. And Elliott first to realise that he could come up to the footy, and he takes the mark.
You're right on that, Hutto. I mean, the long ball hasn't worked as much. Just to pull the kick, low, hard, 40-metre kick, brings Elliott into it, brings Hoskin Elliott into it.
A chance for his third, and it's a really good chance. A chance he simply has to grasp. He kicks at the ball hard and dragged it left. And Carlton fans can't help but think, and Essendon fans can't help but think as he misses. 7-3-45, 12-8-80. Sorry, Andy.
Lloyd with footy in hand, entrusted with the kick in. It is particularly short in the pocket for Rampy. He advances the cause, the minimum, to Fox. And now beyond the defensive arc. He missed his kick to Florent. It's a straight turnover. Cameron bangs it back inside 50. Chaotic stuff. Tom McCartan paddled it to the boundary, and he will get the benefit of a throw-in.
This is where Ginnivan needs to get into the game here. It's been a tough day. He would have had Fox. He would have had Rampy. Come in here, provide a screen, provide a block for De Goey, cause a little bit of chaos, a little bit of body contact, just to get yourself into the game.
Collingwood have got to conjure a goal. It got past the ruckman. Lipinski released it to the goey. Kick was smothered by Rowbottom. The ricochet. Hoskin Elliott gives ground to Pendlebury. Got his way through the pressure to give it back to Hoskin Elliott and then to Nick Dacos. High ball on the way in. It'll take some marking. Well spoiled by a pair of McCartans out in the pockets. McInerney knocked off it. Cameron took out his own man as he gathered the footy and then he lost it in the throw to Hickey. And it's Hoskin Elliott who had his bones rattled in all of that.
Jared, that is defence at its best from the Swans. Tackling 1%ers.
Leon Cameron for buymystock.com.au.
Bet they didn't call it defence when you were playing for South Warrnambool, Leon. It was defence. Ball goes out to the wing where the numbers multiply quickly around at the umpire. Looks like he's got the urge here. Yeah, to crouch and play holding the ball. It's Collingwood's and now it's 50. It was kicked away by Campbell, who can't believe that his first impact in the game is a 50-metre penalty. Well, it was good for one. It was good for the other, it seems. That was a little less clear than the one in the first half, but Nick Dacos is going to make his way to the 50-metre line. He closes his eyes to visualise the path to goal. 35 metres, a couple of simple steps, gets balanced, goes back, executes coolly and calmly like the killer he is. And Collingwood hearts beat a little quicker. Could this be the start of something? 12-8-80 to 8-3-51 as our rookie of the year again displays skills and composure beyond his years.
We've had 3 shots on goal in that first 8 minutes of the quarter. It's just they haven't capitalised. Elliott missed an easy one. Darcy Cameron, relatively easy in front. It's a really, really good clutch goal from Nick Dacos. He started the quarter well. They've kept him at half-back flank. Clark has still got the job on him. Clearly for Collingwood to get up, he needs a big second half. And if he can get the ball in his hands 10, 15 times in the next 45 minutes of this game, it'll go a long way to getting Collingwood back in.
Margin 29 points on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboards. Cameron knocked it down underfoot. Josh Dacos put it back in front of him. He seemed determined to kick it off the ground, the Collingwood ruckman, and he did it errantly. Florent came up to attack the footy, but Sidebottom pinched it off his boot. He doubles back against the boundary, couldn't keep it in. Frantic effort to keep the ball alive, but not to be. Hoskin Elliott's come to the bench with a blood rule after that heavy collision. So he's down there for snaffle bite-sized payments win. Holding the gauze to the head, trying to get it to stop bleeding up above the eyebrow. Nothing definitive from the ruck work. They scrounge away underneath. Rowbottom lays the tackle. Lipinski will hand the footy up to the ump.
Impact of Sam Reid not being out there for the second half, Leon.
Yeah, well, it's big because it's another marking target, and the Collingwood's defence, the back seven, have really struggled in the air, so
McCreary
it could be
wins
advantageous.
A tough ball. He kicks it up into the pocket. It took a bounce over the top of Elliott. Blakey got it over the boundary. Sorry, Leon.
Yeah, sorry, Hutto.
It's a bad time to ask the question.
No. It could be advantageous. We know he can take a really, really good strong mark. It now means that the second ruck, Hickey's got to ruck longer, or Heaney has to go on the ruck a little bit more.
Boundary throw in up against the behind post. Collingwood deep in attack. Cameron took front position. Ginnivan flying through, left it behind. McInerney got caught with the footy. That looked like holding the ball. There's no way that was a legal disposal. Hurried kick on the way out. Murphy had a fly at the pack. Knocked it down near Sidebottom. Hard ball won by Campbell. Gives it away to Mills. Kicks the Swans down the wing. Moore beats Franklin. And he takes the mark in front. Franklin's wandering around all over the place. He never stood still for a second. Shocking centering ball. Pinched by McInerney. He'll run it in for the most insulting of goals. A defensive calamity from Darcy Moore. And it's theatrical in the extreme for McInerney, who's able to draw the whole Swans crowd to his back. And it resets the margin at 35 points. And a joyous celebration from Sydney fans and players alike. 13-8 to 8-3 on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboards.
It's a pivotal piece of play, and just to read and stay in the game. Outstanding work from McInerney, who's that unheralded wingman that just gets up and back. Huge work rate. Just to pick that off. Really, I mean, the switch was on, but the kick from Moore just had to be lower and harder.
And Howe was completely oblivious to the danger. 13 and a half minutes into the third. Back in the middle. They contest underneath. Trying to get things going was Kruger, the Collingwood sub, who's into play now. Follow-up tackle was vigorous in the extreme, and De Goey copped it. Brilliant stuff from Merrick Goulden. I'll check on that for Snaffle.
I wonder if it's Hoskin Elliott.
Yeah.
Probably is.
Probably is, you'd think so. Hickey steadfast and takes the mark. Gives them away forward. They might have been tempted to just change the mix anyway and get Kruger. They love him, so get him out there. Not the coaches would ever stretch the rules, Leon. The kick from Hickey to half forward. Quaynor had access. Didn't finish it. From the pocket. Papley! Oh, just faded. We were riding it right behind his right shoulder. It hung in the air. It tried to get there. That would have just about been the killer blow if that hasn't already been landed.
Well, that's the feel, isn't it? The next goal, if it comes Sydney's way, you couldn't find the way back. Nick Dacos, daring run on the kick-in. Hand pass to Quaynor, who fed it off to Noble. He too knows no other way. A bounce and full throttle. Kick down the wing. Knocked away by Blakey. And out of play. Johnson can't get a look in tonight.
And he struggled last week, so maybe it's a lot to ask of such an inexperienced player. And it's Mason Cox.
Right.
Who's been subbed out.
Right half forward for Collingwood at the throw in. So Kruger does the ruck work. Hoiked it to the back. Side bottom onto it. Hand pass for Chris, but was expansive. He got some high contact from Paddy McCartan as he got low. And up to use it, the milestone man. Kicks to the teeth of goal, and they need Myercheck. Tom McCartan there. Ever so sure in defence. Hooks it away through for a behind. And the margin is 35 points on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard.
And in the aftermath, Jamie Elliott very vocal to his teammates, telling them to lower. Well, I guess a little man would say that. Nick Blakey. He's going to bring it this side, tucks it into the back pocket. Snug little kick for Florence. Keeney gives him a short offering. He wants something a little longer. Happy to do that. All is quiet. McDonald, Hayward are both there representing the Swans. Howe flew it from the front of the pack. Pendlebury, you knew the ball was going to him. The handball to Quaynor. Aggressive line. He takes the crisp. He was a sitting duck for a golden tackle. Play on was the call. Swans fans thought it was worthy of holding the ball. There wasn't quite the prior required. It ends up at a ball up. Buddy drifts back to the goal square. Thrown up at half forward. Parker trying to kick it out of the air. To go, he just watched the footy. But his handball was intercepted by Florent, who's giving them plenty of run off half back. Now Hayward worked his way through the maze. Clark to the outside. Goulden got a cruel bounce, but he didn't give up. Squirts it out the back to Warner. Jimmy Cracker style kick inside 50. Couldn't be marked by McDonald. Soccer stuff from Mills. It pings around. Hayward got through the tackle. Campbell spinning, didn't take the footy with him. Pendlebury shoulder to shoulder with Parker. There is no room for anything to be constructed, at least not by the Magpies. And they see it off for another ball up. 40 metres out from goal. Sydney pressing. Buddy back in the goal square. Kruger's going to do the ruck work here. Who's he going against? Heaney. He got back to the ball, Kruger. Did well. Lusty blow off the left boot. Goes to centre half forward. Johnson denied again by Rampy, but Myercheck read the spillage. Now we watch the bounce and the long kick in. It took a sharp break and then it stopped in its tracks and has to be picked up off the very last line, but Tom McCartan didn't panic. He left Mills vulnerable and it's just not happening for Ginnivan. He couldn't grasp the Sherrin when he needed to up against the line. It's over and out.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today. Sydney by 35 points. Collingwood in attack at the Paddington ends. Cameron against Mills. So tap came to advantage. Josh Dacos around the corner. A stoppage goal. Gifted to Collingwood, really. And Josh Dacos good enough to make good.
It was perfect ruck craft. Unbelievable running pattern from Dacos. He probably went in at the halftime break, knew that he had to lift. He had a quieter first half. Hopefully that sparks the Magpies, but the ruck craft from Cameron onto Dacos, that wrap around on a forward pocket stoppage was just first class.
9-4-58. Collingwood avoid the knockout blow and parry. Sydney 13-9-87. Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard. Use the Police Assistance Line for non-urgent situations.
Have we found out the reason for Cox, Hutto?
Not yet. No.
He's added a little bit, Kruger, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'll ask that question again. I wonder what the injury is.
Oh, come on, Hutto.
Centre bounce. Over the top, Hickey came with the left hand, got the tap. His follow-up exemplary again. Socket this time by Cameron. It's set nicely for Bianco. Good calm handball to side bottom. A low ball from the back, Kruger. Spoiled. McCartan got into his back. Ginnivan tries to make the play underneath. Now he dives on it. His teammate McCreary came in, got it out. A hand pass. It's a high kick at goal from DeGoey. It's going to fall short in the square. They had claims through Hoskin Elliott, but the spillage went to Papley. Barely took position, just heaved it out of there. It's going to be marked, and the re-entry is coming off the left boot. You would think of Maynard. Takes the chest mark. It's a full forward 50. The grid is in place for Sydney. They look to defend and deny. And Johnson came with a rush, had a look at it, couldn't mark, got all the way through to Cameron, who just didn't quite know what to do once he claimed the football. And
it wasn't Pendlebury-like, was it?
No, it wasn't. It's a ball up.
It's a challenge for Collingwood. Can they have some repeat inside 50s here?
Can they pull the same trick at the stoppage? The Swans have a ruckman there this time, although Parker's kick is smothered on the way out. Ginnivan trying to get it to DeGoey to no avail. Rowbottom fashions the kick out. Maynard is set, but he's got company, and Howe lends a hand as the third man in. Centering ball for Quaynor. Collingwood change the angle of attack. Side bottom out the far side. Right half forwards. But it remains as congested as previously. And it will be a kick and hope to the top of the square. Kruger to the front. It clears the pack. Lloyd having a devil of a time gathering. He ended up on top of the footy from Cameron. He gets a good call, I reckon. He ties that ball up at the top of the square and it will be balled up. Hickey and Cameron, shoulder to shoulder. Ball spits out the side. McInerney threw himself and then threw the footy. Florent, McCreary reaches in. Lipinski fed it out. Josh Dacos again. No, not this time. Across the face on the snap from the left forward pocket, margin 28.
Last 5 minutes, they've definitely raised their pressure. You could see DeGoey, Ginnivan, Dacos.
It's a 50 here from full
just
back.
Disappointing just to give that yardage away.
And Blakey's going to take it. He's almost in the centre circle. He deviates off the line, goes short to McInerney. As Collingwood try and get back to at least give the facade of being in the right position. Goulden goes long. There's 4 against Teeny. The most decisive with Murphy with the spoil. Papley made the play, but left an opening for DeGoey. He pounced, sends Lipinski on his way. A rush through the middle. A rush of adrenaline. Pendlebury, Ginnivan. Yes, he marked. He stands up. And then he takes a deep breath. I reckon he's on his limit here. He could certainly go that sort of distance. Ooh. It's here and now, isn't it, for Collingwood?
Brings that back from 36 down to 22.
Started to make the play. Now it's about converting opportunities. Eyes still darting away to the right just in case. 50 metres in front of Jack Ginnivan, the man who's played such a huge role in one way or another, and that's the best way possible. He goes back and kicks a superb goal under all the circumstances. And Collingwood have now made their move. They've kicked a couple of goals, and it's within reach. 13-9-87 to 10-5-65. And that's some goal given the circumstances, all that he's been through all year. And Craig McRae goes to him on the bench. This is a last hurrah for Collingwood. It's the start of the last hurrah, perhaps.
The intensity is just lifted, and the repeat inside 50s that Collingwood are getting at the moment, and their chaotic brand is really coming to the fore.
They're coming from 6 goals down. The margin is 22 points. Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard. Skinnerman's 40th goal of the season. This is where the Swans have been so good at repelling any advance. The challenge is set as the ball is bounced in the middle of the grounds. Cameron wins it down. It got past Crisp. Cameron off the ground, not for the first time, but the wrong direction. Campbell got in and under. He took some legs, but he took the footy as well. Quick kick from Mills is cut off by Quaynor. And Collingwood with a chance to bring it right through the middle. Kick found Crisp. Eager to move it. Quaynor went flying by, but Franklin was in the vicinity. Held to a slow play. Out to the left comes Crisp, not to an advantage situation. And McInerney with a 2-on-1 against Hoskin Elliott was a poor option from the 200 gamer. Swans just soak up a bit of the pressure. Kick sideways to Mills, and he will go backward to Fox. He goes running through half-back and straightens up. Franklin, the kick cleared him, and Noble is onto it. Collingwood without hesitation. Kick for Johnson, had a quiet night. Dropped the footy, under pressure, kicked it out on the full. It's just not happening for the number 40.
He's just got to be able to stay in the game. I mean, clearly it hasn't been his game at the moment, but he's just got to stay in the moment, young Ash Johnson.
Short to Rampy and then long towards Franklin and McDonald, but more, and they are winning the important one-on-ones, and the confidence is filling them as they charge forward. One-on-one as Elliott likes it against Blakey. It was able to eclipse him, got it to ground. Job not done. To go, he rode Parker, but didn't get in his back. According to the umpire, ball up on the 50.
We're seeing this unpredictable play now.
Yep.
Like more just taking off and kicking long to a 1v1. It's exciting stuff.
Cameron got the better of Hickey on the tap. Rowbottom's kick is quashed. Pendlebury heaved the handball to Lipinski. Kept on fighting after not taking clean possession. Here comes Kruger, a blind handball. Dangerous kick out of there by Fox. Is going to be marked. It's in safe hands with Hickey. But anything could have happened with a kick rapid fire like that. No one in the mark, so Hickey eases onto the left boot, kicks it wide. McDonald leads up and provides him with a way out. Franklin about 40 metres ahead, but he prefers Heaney shorter. In fact, it's Stevens, and he takes the mark just behind left half forward. Franklin's arm is up, giving him a target if he wants it. There's no real movement ahead, though. Long on the kick inside 50. Howe and Murphy played spoilers, and it gets away from Franklin and goes over and out. I wonder if Collingwood would think of either moving more or Howe forward, just if they can't make any more ground. At the moment, they are edging back, but they're just lacking that one extra target.
Yeah, probably I think they've got to wait till that three-quarter time. If they can get within 16 points, maybe then they might look at it then.
Swans deep forward, critical stoppage. Cameron won it down to Crisp, who fashioned a kick to side bottom. He'll link it up with Noble, who can dart out to half-back. He'll give it all he's got down the line. It's not a great kick. Kruger did okay. He reached in and kept it out of the midst of Fox. Throw it in. 3 minutes and 2 seconds remaining in this third term on the Makita Rule, the outdoors clock. It's the Swans by 22 points. But Collingwood look as threatening as at any stage thus far. Ruckman nullified each other. Side bottom. Hurried the kick inside 50. They fly from all angles. Ball jars loose. McCreary confronted by Florence. Couldn't get rid of it. Should be a ball up, and is.
Great effort by young Ash Johnson. It hasn't been his day at the moment, but just to bring that ball to the ground, went for his marks. It'll turn if he keeps presenting.
30 out from the Collingwood goal. Ruckman are there. Shared it. Parker in the tackle of DeGoey. He just hand passed it away straight to side bottom, to Pendlebury, to Lipinski, to Chris. Maybe one hand pass too many. Chris brought down. Ball jarred clear. Parker got it out, and there's a high tackle laid by Quaynor.
Not paid.
Hasn't paid it.
Oh, right. Okay, so it'll be a ball up. It really did look like Papley had been tackled unfairly. DeGoey knocked it out to the side for side bottom. He kicks it to the teeth of goal. Bit haphazard with Kruger coming out and Hoskin Elliott the other way. Lloyd's kick's pretty desperate on the way out. Noble committed himself. Awkward bouncing ball. Fell for Clark. Free kick. Sydney's free kick. Was it in the marking contest or down the ground? Regardless, it's going to be Campbell's ball.
He waits and gets ready to turn on that left boot. Here's a beautiful kick of the footy. It's a high one. McDonald coming from behind the pack. Competed in the air. Pendlebury had it under his control, but Franklin saw it as an opportunity to put some skin on skin. And he lays the tackle just inside the 50 and calls on the umpire to throw it up. 87 plays 65 in Sydney's favour, but they're feeling it right now. A bit of volleyball and then shoveled out by Pendlebury for the restart. De Goey tried to connect with Nick Dacos, who reached for the ball. Not so Parker. Got it through to Rowbottom. This is Buddy against two. Buddy not quite. One of the two was more. Fumbled it. Bodies go crashing to ground. Sidebottom kept on coming. Others are trying to get their breath back, but Darcy Moore is breathless as he runs away. Bounces, gave it across to Quaynor, and then to McCreary. Collingwood get to the wing. Jamie Elliott is against two, and even he couldn't take.
They put Mills behind the ball.
Yep.
The last 2 or 3 minutes.
And Mills got in to take the intercept mark and went short to Heaney on the way out.
So Collingwood have got to make sure they don't get hit on the counter-attack with 70 seconds to go in the term. The deficit is 22 points. Heaney sets the Swans out the far side. McDonald had the drop. He takes the mark out in front of Moore. Goulden wanted it short. It's a very viable option. He marked but didn't turn and roll. Instead, he's prepared to play it up to Parker. Methodical build-up for the Swans. McCreary was almost in the protected area. Parker kicks it in the Franklin direction. Knocked away by plenty of defenders as Howe and Cameron arrived in front, thwarted the effort. It's out of play against the behind post. 34 excruciating seconds to defend for Collingwood. You couldn't imagine them coming from 28 points down. Shallow throw in. Cameron took it out of the ruck. Heaney wrapped him up. It should be a ball up. No, the ball spills out a little dangerously. Goulden, creative hand pass. Clark around the corner. Risky. Heaney takes the juggling mark. And the final moment of the third term will be Isaac Heaney with a set shot close in. That's just all luck, really, wherever that kick goes. Heaney thrust his hand at it, knocked it up, got onto it, and there is no underestimating the magnitude of this kick. He is angled 45 degrees to the left, and the mark is set 25 metres out from goal. Isaac Heaney with a goal to his name steadies over the kick. The whole SCG pauses to observe it. A kick for a potentially unassailable lead at the final change. Heaney leaks it across the face of goal, and he leaves it on the table. It's the Swans by 23 points at the final change. Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard 13-10 to 10-5. AFL Nation for McDonald's. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today. And Tyre Power, your matchday favourites for tyre safety.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Mate Internet and Mobile. Make the switch to Mate Internet and Mobile.
Hard Yakka is known for making tough look good, and their new men's and women's winter range is no exception. Gear up head to toe with the new winter staples. From the super warm Sherpa jacket with bonus beanie, shacket or women's zootie, down to their most sustainable boot, the O2 Pump, that features a collar airbag for additional ankle protection. Hard Yakka's new winter range, making tough look good. Available at hardyakka.com.au and available stockists. Hard Yakka, for a new breed of Aussie legends.
Sinclair Dermatology is seeking men aged 18 to 60 to participate in their new hair loss clinical trial. Eligible participants will gain access to cutting-edge hair loss treatment, medical care at no cost, and be reimbursed for their time. Places are limited. Apply today by visiting sinclairdermatology.com.au/clinical trials or calling 1-800-SINCLAIR.
We care for hair, Sinclair.
Werribee Isuzu Ute make buying cars easy. For great deals on D-Max Utes or MUX SUVs, see Werribee Isuzu Ute and upgrade your old car today. They pay top dollar for trade-ins, any make or model. Plus, they've got 100 plus pre-owned utes, vans, four-wheel drives and more in stock and ready to go, with great finance packages for ABN holders and private buyers. Werribee Isuzu Ute, Old Geelong Road, Hoppers Crossing or werribeeisuzuute.com.au. LMCT 114.
See the city come alive these school holidays at Melbourne Skydeck and get an incredible view of Melbourne like you've never seen it before. Enjoy interactive and immersive experiences from the ground floor all the way up to the breathtaking scenery on level 88 at the Southern Hemisphere's highest observation deck. Save 10% on general admission when you book your Skydeck experience online and use promo code SPRING10. Conditions apply. Melbourne Skydeck. It's Melbourne on another level. Open daily from midday. Visit melbourneskydeck.com.au.
Booked a holiday? Visiting friends interstate? Melbourne Airport is happy to be welcoming travellers back. Nothing beats the convenience, flexibility and great value when you park at Melbourne Airport. From just $12 a day, the Value Car Park offers exceptional value. And only a few minutes walk to check-in, Melbourne Airport's Terminal Car Park offers absolute convenience. Park with ease and peace of mind with Melbourne Airport. Book online today and save at melbourneairport.com.au.
Whether by air, road or rail, successfully managing your interstate freight deliveries is a crucial part of growing your business. Effective Freight Solutions are the experts in delivering simple freight solutions with exceptional customer service that will transform your business overnight, saving you valuable time and money. Their innovative approach guarantees your products get from point A to B with the minimum of fuss. Talk to Effective Freight Solutions today and receive a free freight review of your business. Visit efs.net.au.
Installerine, Installerine, Installerine.
For the hottest of hot party you've ever seen. Rain comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Want the assurance of an Aussie family-sized electric water heater with a 12-year cylinder warranty?
Installerine, Installerine, Installerine.
Then accept nothing less than Australia's best.
Bendix EV hybrid brake pads are designed to meet the changing needs of EV braking systems, ensuring a low environmental impact whilst delivering low dust and quieter operation. Cleaner wheels, longer brake disc life, and Bendix green titanium stripe technology for instant friction without the need for bedding in. Ask for Bendix EV hybrid brake pads at your next service. Bendix, put your foot down with confidence.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Motorola. Check out the latest smartphones from motorola.com.au.
Hello, Moto.
Maccas, I'm loving it moments. Download the My Maccas app and get in the game today.
Shocking centering ball, pinched by McInerney. He'll run it in for the most insulting of goals. A defensive calamity from Darcy Moore. Cameron against Mills, so tap came to advantage. Josh Dacos around the corner.
Sends Lipinski on his way. A rush through the middle. A rush of adrenaline. Pendlebury, get him in. Yes. The man who's played such a huge role in one way or another, and that's the best way possible.
It's the Swans by 23 points at the final change. Leon Cameron, what do you think?
Well, I just thought the change in the game in the last 10 minutes was Collingwood's clearance work. They were down by about 7 at half time. They're now breaking even. DeGoey's on the move. They're being a lot more proactive. Young Kruger's come on as the ruckman because Cox is out injured, and they're just going for it. They know that they have to make up the ground, and so they're being really, really brave and probably just running more offensive patterns. It then got the ball inside 50, and they locked it in there. Sydney, in the last 5 or 7 minutes, wanted to hold the ball up and probably take a little bit of time off the clock. It's real on Collingwood. Can they score the first one or two to really open this game up?
Opening bounce of the final term for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. Collingwood down by 23. Hickey wins the opening tap. It spills the way of Crisp. He turns the ball up to half forward. Lipinski leads Fox to it. Lending a hand, Josh Dacos knocked it to the advantage of Lipinski. He couldn't quite gather. It's out of play. Mason Cox subbed out of the game in that third term. Sam Reid, the same fate at half-time. 60 metres out from the Collingwood goal. Hoyt's back into play. Hickey won the tap. DeGoey, though, wins the clearance. Curls it up in the Ginnivan side bottom direction. He was up, but he couldn't take the mark. And when he's down, he's dispossessed in the tackle. The umpire waves play on, but to no avail. It'll need to be balled up. It's a while since Steele Sidebottom has got that high. He'll be disappointed not to have marked it. Hickey pulled it out of the ruck, kicked it into centre field. McDonald over the top, made the spoil on Quaynor. Ball loose. Noble arrives first. Fed it up to Quaynor. Tackled by Heaney. Lost the footy in the process. Desperate stuff on the outer wing. They scramble in after it, but there's no chance of settling that without the whistle and a ball up.
And the challenge for Kruger, who's that makeshift ruckman, is to get pushed out here by Hickey. A real experienced ruckman. The last 2 times he's won that clearance.
He didn't seem to have much idea how to not do that, as Hickey had his way again from the tap down. It got as far as Pendlebury. Warner was able to stick that tackle, so Pendlebury couldn't go any further. 13-10-88 to 10-5-65. Hickey the tap. Makeshift little kick forward. He got it from hand to foot with no real control. I wasn't quite sure what to pay as it went straight over the boundary line. Fruitless appeals for deliberate from the Collingwood faithful. They're on their feet in front of the boundary umpire, urging on their heroes. Let's see if Kruger can find a way. Dwarfed by Hickey, went to the side. Hickey still got the tap. Kruger fashioned a kick out of the air and it fell onto Nick Dacos' chest. He started forward in this last term. Gathers himself, kicks across half forward. Ginnivan or Sidebottom, the Collingwood representative. And that's an outstanding mark by Sidebottom. Took it with the left, even though he was out of kilter and off balance.
I know he's a goal kicker. I know it's a long way out.
Oh, it's a long one.
They need something, though.
At his very
they need
best,
something.
Maybe.
He can just probably kick it from about 55.
At the age of 31 on tiring legs. A set shot. He goes out to the right. It's not going to be a goal. Cameron is there. Kruger is there. Myercheck is there. None of the 3 aforementioned could really get a hand on the ball. And it went through for a minor score. Back to 22.
Victoria Police assistance line scoreboards. Blakey hunched down over the kick in. He's not quite sure where to go. He poked it in for Lloyd. He did sit it high. He wanted it back. Nick Dacos took off to close that option down. Kick comes the way of Fox instead at the defensive 50. They played the broadcast side of the ground, the Swans. It's perilously close to the boundary, but perfectly weighted for Goulden, who's able to nudge it down the line to Haywoods. Incremental kicks. The small gains. Near enough to halfway. Hayward kicks it deeper. Up inside the 50. Franklin arrives. Dropped the mark at the last. Mills gives it back to him, but he fumbled. Trying to push his way clear. Caressed the kick. Out near Goulden. He's got it. He's going to curl it up into the pocket. It didn't carry to Heaney. It's got to be dealt with by Kruger. Heaney wrapped him up. Kruger holds it in. Ball it up. Left forward pocket for the Swans.
Heaney has his hand up. He's going to duel it out with Kruger. Jumps up like he was flying for the mark. Tried to tap it to his own advantage. All he succeeded in doing is sending it back over the boundary line and out of bounds. Throw in the forward pocket. It's still 13-10, 88 to 10-6, 66. Early days in this final term. Victoria Police assistance line scoreboard. Throw in takes place. Heaney acrobatic in the air. Couldn't quite shark it, but Pendlebury could. Came striding away across the defensive goal. Lagged the kick for Nick Dacos. Josh Dacos got the kick he needed across to Maynard, but beautiful work on the angle by Lloyd. Defending stoutly, getting across of the leading Lipinski and fisting it to safety. We await the throw, and it's a glorious sight at the SCG. There's tension in the air, as you'd expect. Collingwood with just a small chance. The next goal, so vital. Plenty on the move. It's edged forward off the ground by Pendlebury. Myercheck twisted the body, grabbed the footy. Handball to Nick Dacos. Pendlebury kept on coming to be viable. Noble shut down immediately. Now Warner tosses it up into the cool night air. It should be marked by Moore. Uninterrupted in his approach to the footy. He took it and angled it through the middle of the ground to Dacos, and the possibilities grow as Noble pinpoints to go, but on the bounce, and that slowed things just a little.
Side bottom out wide near the wing. He places it inside the 50. Cameron arrived. He had to go the spoils. Side bottom on the follow-up. He's been hugely influential so far, but doesn't have much to show for it. Fox to Paddy McCartan to McDonald. Calmly on the way out. So Collingwood have to chance their arm every time they get, and the Swans are cool when in possession. Not much of a kick down the line, although Howe dropped the uncontested mark. He gathers against Papley, used it inboard to Moore, back to Howe, who's on the move, but he doesn't have it. Warner the other way to Papley. The counter-attack of the Swans might hurt. Parker up to Heaney. He pauses for dramatic effect, and then he backs away. Now he kicks inside 50. Where slipping over was Clark, and the moment passed. Quaynor brings it out quickly, out near Lipinski, paddled it back into the field of play, risky. Tom McCartan arrived and walked it over. It's a 22-point margin. We have had 6.5 minutes.
The challenge for Collingwood is clearly they're going through it, but they just need a little bit more poise coming inside 50.
How good was that from Quaynor to wing it back? Throwing on that outer wing. Hickey over the top of Kruger. Pendlebury picked it up, scooped the handball back over his head, slung it forward. It's back in dispute. Crisp approached it. Now McInerney gets his shot, and he did it well. Decisive handball forward to Parker. He waited the kick. It got over the head, though, of Heaney. Moore's already on the move. He had a stick whacking in the way as they were coming at him. Kick to half forward. Tom McCartan now with Myercheck. They both got lunge at it at ground level. Crisp emerged. Flicked the handball to DeGoey. Didn't take possession. Tapped it wider. The handball returned to DeGoey. Couldn't keep his feet. Nick Dacos enters the fray. Play on, the umpire said. It goes to Bianco, who fires away and kicks it. The most unlikely of sources. But he's put it through. He kept his head. They were coming and coming and coming. And eventually somebody had a clear head and converted. And now it's on.
Good time to kick your first goal of the season.
It sure is. And look, that scramble piece of play, which we know Collingwood are famous for, is happening right in front of our eyes at the moment. Just the DeGoey attack, the Dacos attack. I love the move that Dacos has gone half forward, because all of a sudden Lloyd can't drop off. He has to make a choice. I have to come up with him. He's such a good playmaker. Kruger's adding something. You know, it's not traditional ruck stuff, but all of a sudden, there's a little bit of hope.
16-point margin. Back in the centre circle for Flight Centre. Your front row seat centre. Good straight bounce to work with. Cameron got it out the side and he gathered it himself. Bounced the pies inside 50. Ginnivan goes back. Florent kept it out of his grasp initially. Ginnivan did brilliantly. Knocked it to Jace Dacos. Kicks to the hot spots. Blakey is there to defuse the bomb. The Swans are going to have to absorb a lot. They might only have to land one decent blow themselves, but they haven't looked likely yet. In the 9 minutes of the final term, kick into the back pocket for Stevens. Stevens runs the curve of the boundary, kicks long down the line. Moore so well placed. More and more influential by the minutes. Darcy Moore slips the hand pass to Maynard. Bangs it up in the Elliott direction. Myercheck flew. Thump over the back. It runs over the boundary. 5 around from the behind posts.
And Moore's just having a massive impact in the last 10 minutes.
What a presence.
Yep.
13.5 minutes remain on the Makita Rule the Outdoors clock. Collingwood down by 16. Attacking in the forward pocket. Cameron to the front. Swiped it down. DeGoey tried. Missed it. Laid the tackle on Parker. Kept it in dispute. Campbell's over the footy. McCreary laid the tackle. Hoskin Elliott goes in. He's dumped into the ground. borderline dangerous tackle. Umpire's happy to ball it up.
Umpire to go, he paid it.
Nick Dacos tying his shoelaces at the stoppage. Up she goes. Hickey knocked it down underfoot. It's a real grapple for the ball. Rowbottom dispossessed once and then held up the second time. He ended up over it. A ball up, 50 out from the Collingwood goal.
88 plays 72. Thrown up right in front of us. 50 metres out from the Collingwood goal. Dacos, great hands to Crisp. They edge a little closer. Johnson kept it in front of Josh Dacos. And off the right boot, he couldn't quite get the line to goal. And it's another minor. Collingwood just edged that little bit closer. 13-10-88 to 11-7-73. And it's on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard.
Pegged it back from 36 to 15. 3 consecutive goals with some behinds mixed in along the way. Lloyd's kick, Franklin on the long lead. Murphy got the fist in, knocked it away. It's out of play, 50 away from Collingwood's goal. There's not much about the Swans game at the moment. It is preservation mode.
Yeah, they've shut down their uncontested mark in Collingwood. They've tightened up on their defence.
Boundary throw in. Cameron and Hickey form up. Knocked down to the front. Crisp held up without it, I fancied. Gordon wins the hard ball. Hand pass to Rowbottom. Prize to kick down the line. Franklin grapples with Murphy. It lands to the back of them. Moore comes up. Murphy lends a hand. Murphy hand passes out near the boundary. It's loose. Paddled to the advantage of Campbell. He got some kick across the line. Throw it in. The Swans attacking half.
Oh, this is getting harder and harder to watch for fans of both sides. Still hope for Collingwood. There's plenty of time to put something together. 12 and a half minutes to bridge the 15-point gap. Hickey playing in front, had first play, but it bounced back to Cameron in his lap. Invert torpedo to half forward. The contest is on between McCartan and Myercheck. Took it off the pack, set the race. The pursuit is on. Florin will get there first. Oh, he's hit it out of bounds, but it actually didn't go there, and Ginnivan did him a favour and took it out, and we'll have a throw in. Gasps all around the commentary box and the crowd. That's what it's feeling like right now. John Longmire pacing down on the bench. Craig McRae also there for Collingwood. As anxious as everybody and anybody. From the throw in the forward pocket, Kruger came in with muscle. Couldn't get a meaningful tap. Heaved out of there by Rampy. First at it is Noble. He looks up and he sees Buddy Franklin. Didn't have the strength to get through completely. The Swans try and slow it down. Papley got it short to Clark. And it came with driving instructions, and that is just pause. He obeys. He waits and goes short to Buddy Franklin, who is the man in control right now. Collingwood fans think he's given too long. A bit like the Wallabies on Friday night. He gets the hurry up to half forward. Quaynor and Howe are there to do the defending, and that's exactly what they do. Quaynor to Crisp, and now they get to half back. At full stretch, McCreary has a bounce. He winds his way around. Hickey has a second. Pumps the handball to Kruger. It sits for him perfectly. The goals beckon, but he couldn't quite finish. And the agony gets a little harder to bear. 11-8-74 to 13-10-88.
They're not waiting to get run down here, are they, the Swans? This is crazy.
McInerney jump off here. He looks like he was injured. It's like they're just waiting at the moment. The Swans can't go back into preservation mode. They need to score at least 1 to 2 goals here.
They are so deep in preservation mode, they've given up their entire game to look at it. Long from Lloyd on the way out, and it's just over the boundary.
McInerney getting assessed for an ankle.
I mean, credit where credit's due. I mean, Collingwood have really tightened up, but they're just playing a free-flowing game of footy. Sydney need to counteract with their ball movement. They've done it all year.
Hickey took it out of the ruck, couldn't quite create what he wanted to. Heaney backed himself into open play. Clark spins through, daring stuff, that's the way. Off to Campbell, up to Franklin, doubles back, then coughed it up. Straight to Howe, Collingwood trying to come hard. Lipinski had a hand. Nick Dacos won a critical ball. Now to Howe. Pendlebury gliding along, gives it to the run of Noble, it didn't quite arrive. Goulden shut him down. Mowed him down in the tackle. stops the Collingwood progress.
Pendlebury had to take the longer option with higher check. I mean, it's easy from the cheap seats here, but he just had to go longer.
In the centre square, Sydney by 14. Hickey clean tap down to row bottom. Fashion to kick forward. Well marked. Campbell footy in hands. Again, he waits. Collingwood have the spare back. He goes to the teeth of goal now. Papley used the hands. He might have taken the mark. He has. Moore had front position. Papley removed him and took the juggling mark.
I think Quaynor got a little bit of that, but not enough for it not to be paid. Oh, it was a bit of a push, wasn't it?
Do you know what? Moore got scrambled. He just wasn't. He didn't have his base set.
Did it hit the ground? It was a lot of almost.
Oh, there's a lot of almosts in it. But it means that Tom Papley has a shot from 20 metres out that ordinarily he couldn't help but kick. The pressure of the moment. Papley meets it. And the Sydney crowd breathes for the first time in 20 minutes. It's a vital buffer at 20 points. And we have crossed the halfway mark of the final term. They are one more goal away from their place in the grand final. 14-10 to 11-8. Victoria Police Assistance Lions scoreboards.
I mean, Collingwood still have to keep going and do what they're doing at the moment. It was unlucky. Pendlebury probably just that overuse of handball. And then all of a sudden the Swans needed to be brave. I mean, the kick was really, really good to Papley. Moore wasn't settled. All of a sudden, if you get it in there with Papley and Franklin, Collingwood have to do everything right. And they haven't been able to do that for most of the game. So the Swans have to win this game by being brave and being bold with their ball movement.
Crowd of 45,600 at the SCG. Game still alive midway through the last. Pendlebury tried to glide through. He left it behind. Row bottom deep. Franklin looms. Can't quite take the mark. It's whacked away from Campbell. Now the mosquito feet. Oh, Errol touched on the line. Goulden took the snap and he was running and ready to share the love. But the Pies had the defenders on the line and Maynard saved the day and now has kicking and duties.
It'll be up the middle, you would fancy. Maynard gives it everything he's got. What have they got? Kruger flew at the front of the pack, knocked away. Rowbottom, clever kick to the side for Goulden, released it to Blakey. Sydney back into attack. Heaney almost couldn't quite hang on. Released by Moore in defence. Hoskin Elliott, scrambled kick, cut off by McDonald, wedges the short kick. Campbell, it wasn't 15. Desperate stuff and a wild hand pass. Putting his head over the ball was Stevens. Got met ferociously, but he held it inside the 50 for a ball up. Maynard coming one way. Stevens ever so brave the other. Had the ball up. Kruger knocked it down. Straight to Warner. Dragged off it. Hoskin Elliott hacked it off the turf. Florent onto it. Ginnivan dragged him down. Dispossessed him. Lipinski hand pass for side bottom. Against the flow. Paddy McCartan. And he gets it from row bottom. Kicks. Heaney. Yes! Takes the mark. Under close checking from Quaynor.
Just outstanding from Paddy McCartan to come off his man. Brave. Again, we talked about winning the game and not saving the game. All of a sudden, you go back into a lonely defence. You get Heaney one-on-one. He takes that mark inside 50.
It's the biggest kick of the night. It'll be from 50 metres out, and Heaney will start 3 steps inside the boundary. He had the chance after the three-quarter time siren. It returns now. Isaac Heaney to snuff Collingwood out. It's across the face of goal. Off hands, knocked back into the field of play. Hayward can't make anything of it. It'll be thrown in. Left forward pocket for the Swans, who lead by 21 points.
So the clock is becoming an issue for Collingwood now. Plenty of hands up for the throw-in. Kruger's opponent will be Hayward, who leaps over the top. It came to Warner. A quick flashing shot at goal. Heaney denied by Quaynor. They're eager to keep it in. The Pies, they can't. And it slips over the chalk as the clock ticks up to 20 minutes in this final term for Makita. 95 Sydney, 74 Collingwood. 45,000 people at the SCG. Quiet, pensive as the throw-in takes place. Heaney tried to force the issue. It leaked out the back. Coming through, Parker got given the full 360 treatment. Maynard cleared it, but it's only momentarily. Serve about to be returned by the Lizard, who squirmed his way clear to take the mark. Took the shortest option, did Blakey. And it gets safely to half forward, where the mark is taken by Goulden.
Got the distance, Hutto. Thumping kick.
It would take his very best. He's a stylish left footer. He goes back a couple of steps, doesn't try it on, and it's a bit of a lame kick, and it's going to be picked off pretty comfortably by Quainer. Eyes up for him. Can he start something? Can he get some flow? He's going to go down the middle for the Pies.
They somehow have to conjure 4 goals. Long kick in the Cameron direction. Underfoot. Lipinski beaten to it by Rowbottom. Slipped out. Hand pass to Warner. Tumbles the kick in. Moore's there. Half volley. Devil of a time getting a hold of it. Goulden almost stole it. Moore kept his nerve, released Hoskin Elliott, and then Pendlebury. Kicked right through the middle for Nick Dacos. He should get 50. He took the mark, and Rampy kept coming at him. No 50's the call.
He's coming back. I think because he went sideways, the umpire didn't pay the 50. He was trying to milk it. It was a tough call. Craig McRae, well, he's searching for answers.
6 minutes to play on the Makita Rule the Outdoors clock. 21-point deficit on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboards. Nick Dacos with the ball in centre fields. And the whole field set ahead. He's gone the barrel, an unusual choice. Knocked away initially. Ginnivan underneath, released the hand pass. McDonald is serving in defence. Insufficient intent, surely. A hat kick to the boundary. And it'll be a Collingwood ball for Hoskin Elliott. He would have to kick this from 52 out on the boundary. It seems improbable. Almost as improbable as finding a target. He hangs it up to the teeth of goal. Mychek! Oh, almost.
Paid it.
Got it. The mark has been paid. He probably stopped it in flight. He certainly didn't bring it down. But stopping it in flight has been enough to get the verdicts. And Brodie Mychek from the top of the goal square will give Collingwood the faintest of hopes. It's a 15-point deficit with 5.5 minutes to play. 12-8-80 to Sydney 14-11-95.
Just brave, great kick from Hoskin Elliott. I mean, coming through the middle of the ground, Moore's ground ball to then release Pendlebury, to lower his eyes to Dacos. All your big playmakers are in the game. Are we going to run out of time? We're not going to die wondering with Collingwood. Huge centre bounce. They've got Darcy Cameron, they've got Crisp, they've got DeGoey, and they've got Pendlebury. A quick respond here will throw a spanner amongst the works here, Hutto.
Oh, it most certainly will. It's back to 15 points. They've done it before. Can they do it again when it really, really, really matters? It's preliminary final integrity after all. Centre bounce. Grabbed out of the middle. Hickey couldn't take it with him. Parker wore some, absorbed some, and dropped it ultimately. Free kick, or will it be a hand pass? It will for Cameron. Skipping through centre half forward. Pendlebury, skippity skip. Hoskin Elliott denied in the end. It was Blakey that ran the interference. Jamie Elliott took it and they took him. And he's penalised holding the ball. And it's Errol Goulden who was able to hang on for long enough to be rewarded. He quickly spots Florent as the clock ticks under 5 minutes remaining now in the last. 15 points is the margin. He kicks to the wing and Heaney tried to find whatever energy he had left to lift himself up and take the mark on the wing through his fingertips.
So Mills is back as the spare. Collingwood must have a +1 around the stoppage because it's 3v3 ahead for the Swans.
Yeah, Josh Dacos is the spare. So can Collingwood work it? Yes, Josh Dacos has come running through, knocked it to De Goey, hand passed over his head, it didn't reach Noble. Hayward saw it coming, pinched it, kicks for Franklin one-on-one, knocked away by Moore, bouncing ball, Parker couldn't trap it. Cameron did a great job, released De Goey and on to Pendlebury, now to Josh Dacos, foot to the floor, runs to half forward, sets it up to the teeth of goal, up went Hoskin Elliott, dropped the mark, brushed the tackle, hooked it at goal. Here it comes! It's happening! It's happening! Hoskin Elliott's goal. The margin is 9 points. And there's 4 minutes left in the preliminary final. 13-8 to 14-11.
The Dacos kick, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. To have the poise, to bounce, to kick it across his body, knowing that going down the line would have been so safe. All of a sudden, Hoskin Elliott took care of business here. The run from Pendlebury and Maynard and Moore off the back line is really giving Collingwood an opportunity. 4 minutes to kick 2 goals. We've seen it all year. It can be done.
Plenty of time for this Collingwood team. Their belief is undeniable. It is extraordinary. Centre bounce. The country gripped. All eyes to the middle of the SCG. The tap went wide. Parker took the territory. Quainer a slight fumble. McInerney couldn't get back onto it. A cautious side bottom. Carefully laid the tackle. He wasn't going to let Blakey get away, or Mills. And we'll have a ball up. A ball up just towards the Swans forward line. The ruckman form up, the tap came to the side, trying to spin through row bottom, straight into Quainer. He had enough time, the umpire said. Side bottom tried to steal the advantage. The umpire let him. They run aground on the wing. They try and surge. Lloyd with a counter. Collingwood have a wealth of numbers across half-back. Darcy Cameron took the mark okay, but what does he do with it? 3 minutes 26 on the clock. He found someone at centre half-back, not just someone. It's Nick Dacos. He sends it across half-back. Interesting choice. Noble in front of the MA Noble stand. Kicks it out to the wing. He finds Howe. He blasts. Ginnivan stays down. It's knocked away by a group of Swans. Scott Pendlebury fed the handball back. Darcy Cameron, he played 1 game for the Swans. He kicks Collingwood to try and break their heart to full forward. Tom McCartan on the very last line. The kick came from Florent. Side bottom. Is it? Is it? It is! Steele, side bottom, has kicked the goal that has sent disbelief around the SCG. Collingwood are going to do it again, are they?
Again,
speechless.
Again, the rebound from half-back. The spare for Sydney is not working because they're creating an extra number behind the footy at the moment with Collingwood. And everything coming off their half-back line, they are scoring.
Sport is built on belief. And no team has a right to believe quite as much as Collingwood. 2 minutes and 42 seconds remain. They need 1 more goal to hit the fronts. Bounced in the middle. Hickey missed it. Kicked by Parker. Out to the wing. Straight to Josh Dacos. Collingwood are going to get an immediate look. Josh Dacos kicks to full forward. Myercheck worked underneath. Ball loose at the back. Blakey gets back first and he paddles it through for the conceded score. The margin is now 2 points on the Victoria Police Assistance Line scoreboard. And there's 2:22 left in the game, Hutto, at the SCG.
Richard be proud as the ball comes into the back pocket, and the number 22, Nick Blakey, takes the mark. They've got to find a way forward. 2 minutes 15 now. He checks with the umpire. He gives it everything he's got to the wing. Paddy McCartan trying to relive life as a forward. Flew. Can't take the mark. It sits just forward of the wing. It's not going anywhere. No, Crisp. Resolute. Went again at the back of the pack. It's Warner. Takes off. Shaped the kick boldly. Gets it in the Franklin direction. He takes the mark and a stop sign goes up.
I'm still saying that's not the right play.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And they can't kick it long.
He had Heaney deep, but he's chosen to go wide to Dylan Stevens. This young man in game number 29, the 21-year-old. He's going back further to Rampy. 1 minute 30 now.
It's exactly what Collingwood want. They want a long kick. They want a long kick so they can rebound.
One intercept, one big steal. The kick goes towards Hickey and Franklin. A towering mark from Tom Hickey. Now he can press pause. He can't claim he's having a shot, though. Too far out. The umpire has to move him on. Time has expired. They come for him. Hickey, long. Franklin is there. The pack builds at the back. It's kicked away by Maynard, and Josh Dacos couldn't take the mark. He got hands to it. It goes over the line and out of bounds. 50 seconds to go. The crowd, everyone around the country watching or listening is numb. There's 3 points in the most exhilarating preliminary final.
Desperate finish. Heaney's in the ruck. Cameron got it to the back. Crisp onto it. Paddled to the advantage of De Goey. Crisp off the ground. Any way to take territory. Lloyd caught by Quainer. There's the turnover. Crisp for Kruger. He flew Myercheck as well. Magnificent spoil by the Swans defence. Mills overwhelmed. The ball's still alive. De Goey onto it. He's wrapped up by 3. Umpire has a look. Ball it up. 30 out from the Collingwood goal. 23 seconds to go. The Pies with a goal to make the grand final. The Swans to defy and see next week. Ball up. Knocked to the side. Nick Dacos swallowed in the tackle. Only a couple of seconds lost.
This is where Collingwood do not want to tackle anyone. You might as well have a loose ball. Don't tackle anyone at all.
At the ball up. Seconds to go. Cameron knocked it down. Ball pinballs. Warner got caught with it. Crisp got some sort of kick away. Awkward bouncing ball. Knocked out into the pocket. McInerney tackled by Lipinski once, twice. Ball loose on the goal line. Held up. It's a rush behind. It's a 1 point result. Echoes of the last time an SCG preliminary final was played. The siren pending on the kick end. Every last ounce of energy exhausted. The final kick. The siren sounds. Sydney stared down the Grim Reaper and they live to tell the tale. They take their place in the 2022 grand final. Collingwood left nothing out there. But it will be no consolation. It's a 1 point win to the Swans. The grand final will be Geelong and Sydney. But every ounce of admiration is for those in black and white who came from 36 points down and failed at the last.
Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall, while our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
The stand is shaking, Jerry.
It is.
I was just feeling that.
I'm a little concerned.
I'm a little worried as well.
We're very high.
Did you feel that?
The tremors, well, it felt like the whole last quarter was in the grip of paranormal activity, so nothing would have surprised. Sydney 14-11-95, defeat Collingwood 14-10-94. The last quarter went 32 minutes and 10 breathless seconds.
Cheer the red and the white, honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall, while our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
Sydney led at quarter time by 21, at half time by 30. They led by 36 in the middle stages of the third term before it changed. 23 points at the final change and 1 point at the close. There's no doubt that Collingwood's aura and Collingwood's reputation played a huge role in that final term. And 45,608 see Sydney survive and go to the grand final. 14-11-95 to Collingwood 14-10-94. Papley kicked 3 for the winners, including the last quarter goal, the only one the Swans managed. Franklin booted 2. There were singles to Warner, Stevens, Clark, Heaney, McDonald's, Rowbottom, Reid, Parker and McInerney. While for the Magpies, 2 for Elliott, 2 for McCreery, 2 for Hoskin Elliott, with singles to Josh Dacos, Bianco, Cameron, Sidebottom, Crisp, Ginnivan, Nick Dacos and Myercheck. Leon, the Swans by 1 point.
Sydney Geelong.
Look, it's taking your breath. I mean, you're right. the stands were shaken before. It was just everything that we spoke about leading into the game. Collingwood's kamikaze approach probably came a little bit too late, but they've always left their run late for most of the year. But what we were seeing unfold was just phenomenal football, and Collingwood has lost no admirers for what they have done this year. To get that close when they seem to be down and out and keep chasing the Swans down with this brave, bold play through the middle of the ground was outstanding. And credit to them to put on such a fine performance when it looked like they were gone. To the Swans, it looked like they wanted to get to the prelim final at three-quarter time.
Yeah.
They will take an enormous amount of learnings out of that last 30 minutes. They were brave. They lost Reid. McInerney was on one leg. No doubt there's a few players that are a bit banged up at the moment. But Geelong and the Sydney Swans have been the best 2 teams, especially for that second half of the year, and they deserve their place in the grand final in 7 days' time.
Oh, the what-ifs for Collingwood.
Yes.
Last quarter.
So the Magpie players are going to thank the cohort that made the trip to the SCG. It's so unusual to see a vanquished team in a preliminary final in such a manner, but they have played with such gallantry, and the crowd played a role.
And Craig McRae's words about acting like winners even when you lose. I noticed only maybe 1 or 2 started to go down on their haunches, and then they stood up.
Oh, they stood up all right.
Oh.
That's remarkable, and we'll have plenty of time to savour the grand final, but the last day of the Franklin contract will see him in a grand final trying to win this elusive flag with the Swans. And on the other side of the coin, you've got Patrick Dangerfield trying to crown his career with a flag, and Joel Selwood trying to become a premiership captain right at the end as well. So it's littered with great stories, but for the moment it's hard to escape the events that have just happened here, and watching the Collingwood players out with their faithful in all portions of the SCG, it's almost incongruous. Have we got? I think we've got Buddy Franklin right on the final siren here with Channel 7.
Buddy Franklin, you've done it. You'll contest the premiership next weekend against the Cats. Can you believe that finish?
What a finish. Wow. That's right on to our boys. Geez, they fought hard. They're a really good team, and we knew they were going to come, and they did. We were lucky to hang on there, but we take the winner into the grand final. So it's been an unbelievable season. With so many young players coming through, playing some really good football. So it's just good to be a part of it.
And what about your mindset with 10 seconds to go? I see you looking at your bench, just screaming how long's left. You knew that they were coming, as you said. So.
It felt longer than 30 seconds, that's for sure. So, yeah.
What's the most pleasing aspect to this win?
We're into a grand final. I think that's the most pleasing thing, yeah. That's what we play footy for, is to play in grand finals. So we get an opportunity to go down there against Geelong. They've been an unbelievable team this year, so we're going to have to be at our best to win next week.
That'll do it, won't it?
That's a great answer.
It is a great answer.
At least he didn't say it was because of the roles that we all played,
Yes,
and that's what Leon and he would have had his team instructed to say.
Sydney by 1 point. The final score for the Victoria Police open line. Need Victoria Police, but not the sirens. Call the police assistance line 131 444.
Let's just look like Wise Franklin's got the microphone. again.
On the mic. Collingwood's experience in playing in those tight games has to be a big factor, doesn't it, in certain plays.
But they go into this carefree factor. We've all seen it. We've seen it. It's not a fluke. It's been happening for the best part of 15 weeks. And they get down and they like to run down players, and it's like it's unheard of. It's like they like to get 3 goals behind. And then they like to run them down, and they just be braver and braver, and it's just whether or not, they can do that a little bit earlier in the piece. But credit where credit's due. I mean, there was always going to be one prelim final that probably summed up the year that we've had so far, and this was it. And it's been a phenomenal year of football, and hopefully we've got one more to go.
There was a spoil late in the piece, so the ball was coming for Cameron, and then Myercheck launched himself at it, and he had great position just suddenly, and I presume it was one of the McCartans. Yeah. And it was carnage in the pack, bodies strewn everywhere, and that single effort might have kept it out of the Magpies' clutches. Our post-game show is for VRGF Gamblers Help. Call someone who gets it. Call Gamblers Help. Leon, in all of that, have you got a coaching move in the desperate final throws? Was it Nick Dacos going forward for TC Boxes, quality-built trays, canopies and toolboxes?
I think for where the game was at, when the Swans were always that 3 to 4 goal buffer for most of the game with their fast start. And then the three-quarter time move came. Hoskin Elliott went back and Dacos went forward and just created so much and created a little bit of instability. I don't think it was a move, but more just freeing himself up. He was so exciting from centre-half back. It looked like he came out of the goal square and they trusted Murphy with the deeper role, and that got Collingwood back in the game. But in the end, Sydney go through to the grand final. Mills had a crucial ball just before three-quarter time, and it didn't turn into a 3-goal lead at the break at three-quarter time. So the Swans' method was to put Mills back and help save the game. Collingwood's method was just to go for it, and we ended up with an absolute classic 1-point win.
Darcy Moore he provided just moment after moment, unmissable for Drinkwise. Choose to drink wise, you won't miss a moment if you drink wise. Nobody personifies the devil may care quite like he does in those moments. We're watching Josh Kennedy be cheered off. He's got the club polo on, he grasps it. It's a standing ovation for him from the Swans members, and he's swamped by his teammates. He is a retired player now, and he'll be there on the bench next week to support them in a grand final. The MEGT Rookie of the Day, your local apprenticeship experts, is Nick Dacos. Has been that all year, hasn't he? Can you just work some votes out, Leon, while I rattle through the rest of this? Score the ultimate listing experience with Sonos. There's game-changing daily, weekly and major prizes to be won. Enter at iCanWin.com.au. There is so much talkback to be taken in the aftermath of that for Star 21. 2021 Telstra Apprentice Partner of the Year. It will last for days. And there'll be many a conversation back down the Hume of moments that was snatched away or not quite grasped when the margin is a point.
There's 2 minutes 40 to go when that side bottom goal was kicked. So there was plenty of time. It really felt like they were going to.
Our AFL Nation post-game show for VRGF Gamblers Help. Call someone who gets it. Call Gamblers Help. We're able to join the Swan song. No, that's the PA.
Tony, everyone in. Chad! Shit!
Full game highlights coming up. The Swans through to the grand final to meet Geelong. The votes for Henley Homes. Henley completed homes now selling in Mickleham and Clyde North. Henley.com.au. 1.
I thought Tom Papley was fantastic. 16 possessions as a small forward to kick 3 goals too. In the end, you know, he took his opportunities. He kicked straight. I thought he was absolutely fantastic as a small forward. I thought Callum Mills, he was everywhere. I thought his first half in particular was first class. Everything that he touched, I thought, turned to gold. Then he had to go back and play as a back, so I gave him 2 votes. This was a really hard one, but I thought it epitomised Collingwood's game. I thought Jack Crisp just gave everything. It was his 200th game. I could have thrown Pendlebury in there. He probably had a quieter second quarter. I thought Crisp was outstanding for the entire game, and he put Collingwood on his back in the last 30, 40 minutes and nearly wheeled them over the line, so I gave him 3. There's clearly some unlucky players in Pendlebury and Moore. Gilden I thought was fantastic as well. So my votes are Papley 1, Mills 2 and Crisp 3.
Sydney by 1 point over Collingwood. Leon, it's been great to have you as part of our broadcast team in the back half of the season. Thank you. And while we give you up to the Swans, we might see if we can pinch you back from time to time. Good luck with what comes next.
Cheers, Jared.
Leon Cameron at the SCG. Full game highlights coming up from a thrilling preliminary final.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Omnia Specialties, experts in soil health and crop nutrition.
Booked a holiday? Visiting friends interstate? Melbourne Airport is happy to be welcoming travellers back. Nothing beats the convenience, flexibility and great value when you park at Melbourne Airport. From just $12 a day, the Value Car Park offers exceptional value. And only a few minutes walk to check-in, Melbourne Airport's Terminal Car Park offers absolute convenience. Park with ease and peace of mind with Melbourne Airport. Book online today and save at melbourneairport.com.au.
Real Aussies are winning big with the Monopoly game at Macca's. Like previous Monopoly game winner Caleb from Victoria, who won a home entertainment package.
I was shocked. Turned to the missus. She was shocked. We both didn't believe it. Pretty blown away.
Download the My Macca's app and play today. Ends 18th of October. For full terms, visit mcdonalds.com.au.
Major building projects for the trade or a DIY home reno. Robot Building Supplies is the Australian-owned family-run business you can trust.
Robot's got it.
Robot's product range is vast and world-class. And when it comes to product knowledge,
Robot's got it.
Next day delivery in Metro Melbourne.
Robot's got it.
Over 70 years experience and reliability helping Melburnians. Robot Building Supplies. Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Sinclair Dermatology is seeking men aged 18 to 60 to participate in their new hair loss clinical trial. Eligible participants will gain access to cutting-edge hair loss treatment, medical care at no cost, and be reimbursed for their time. Places are limited. Apply today by visiting sinclairdermatology.com.au/clinical trials or calling 1-800-SINCLAIR.
We care for hair, Sinclair.
JH Market is your one-stop shop for all your lighting and electrical needs. Sparkies will find the cheapest trade prices guaranteed, like 10-watt LED downlights for only $5.29 each. Make the switch to JH Market. Call 1300 000 808 or visit jh.market today.
After a win in the first, Baz's day is off to a flyer.
You beauty!
By race 2, his phone's at 20%.
Oh, I'm in strife here.
His Mikey, F-Boss, betting app, Uber, and the number of his new love interest he's meeting for dinner is all connected to his mobile. Don't be like Baz. Remember 3 things this racing season: your phone, your keys, and your Signet Power Bank. You'll never run out of charge with a Signet Power Bank. Aussie owned, Aussie designed. Signet.com.
And you got the Quaddy too.
Sounds lovely. What is that?
Never mind. Let's talk about you.
If there's one sound that means it's September, you'd agree this is it. And nothing goes better with footy finals than a Thirsty Camel. Bottle shop, that is. With great specials like Great Northern Super Crisp 3.5% 24-pack, $47.99. Cooper's XBA 6-pack, $19.99. And St. Hallett Black Clay Shiraz, $14.99. The Camel is calling this September. Find your local at thirstycamel.com.au. Ends 18th September. Prices may vary in country areas. Hydrate responsibly.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland 11 stores open 7 days until midnight in Melbourne and Geelong, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
Take me now, I'm coming. Take me now, Sexyland.
The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse Sale, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m, 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. Buy direct from brands such as Kookaburra, Grey Nichols, Gun & More, New Balance, Asics and more. Save over $500 on top grade senior bats. There's cricket bats from $19, up to 50% off helmets, plus up to 70% off gloves, pads, bags and everything you need for cricket. The $1 Million Cricket Warehouse Sale, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. 75 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin. View online at thecricketsale.com.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
The winner to take on Geelong next week at a packed MCG. But the SCG is where we are, and we're so lucky to be here. Cox displaced by the flying Tom McCartan. Lovely hands from Heaney, but the umpire's picked out a free. Everyone stopped. Luke Parker didn't. And he's jagged one from 40 metres to get us going.
Swans fans starting to roar. Who does Reid want? He wants the goal square. Stevens got up there, dumped it, and goaled it.
He sends it in his direction. Heaney's a factor as well. Oh, buddy, it came off his chest. Picked up by Ryan Clark. Had a good look and made the most of that opportunity. But he's sore, but the Swans are feeling no pain. They have the first 3 goals.
So Tom Papley is 55 from goal. Does he run around Quainer on the mark here?
And he slams on the boot. He's got a long boot.
He's got that.
He's got that all the way home. And Collingwood's got a little bit of problem here.
His arm to centre half forward. Cox comes out and takes a towering mark. In the Cameron direction, Spoilmate. Hoskin Elliott plays Rover and snaps a goal. Collingwood are on the board.
Crisp gets the clearance and he runs out the front of the stoppage. Goes long towards goal. Instant reply. As crisp has ever been. That was a ripper.
Cox came through. Sharp hand pass up to Crisp. Inside 50 to Filipinski. One more to Elliott to goal. Sharp move from the Pies out of the middle.
In the opening quarter, Warner with a dynamic takeaway. Driving drop punt right to the top of the speed. Franklin got off his man Maynard. Wasn't amongst the 6 goal kickers in the first quarter. He certainly is in the second.
Chris from half back to half forward without hesitation and onto the chest of Ginnivan. Ginnivan caressed the kick into the hole and McCreery bobbed up. McCreery skips in, lets fly, never looked like missing. The Magpies make their move.
Mills around the body, across those. Franklin! No, he couldn't take them up. Ground level, Rowbottom! 3 of them came to Franklin. Rowbottom was on his own, and the rest is history.
Rowbottom got a kick away and it lands with Heaney. So this is for a game-high lead at 31 points. Heaney, set sail, got it. It's out beyond 5 goals.
Moore comes hard at the footy, takes the mark.
Doing a good job on Franklin at the moment. He goes for the dangerous kick to Howe. He waited.
No.
McInerney picked it off, looked around, had a bounce, runs inside 50, runs to 30, bang! Ball knocked down towards Dacos. Josh bends
goal.
it, got it! Still alive, Collingwood.
Sends Lipinski on his way. A rush through the middle. A rush of adrenaline. Pendlebury, Ginnivan, yes! The man who's played such a huge role in one way or another, and that's the best way possible. He goes back and kicks a superb goal under all the circumstances.
The goal is in your moment. Battles his way through. Held without the footy, no, said the umpire. Deep into attack. Here it is, Bianco. Here it is.
It's Campbell, footy in hands. He goes to the teeth of goal now. Papley used the hands. He might have taken the mark. The pressure of the moment. Papley meets it. And the Sydney crowd breathes for the first time in 20 minutes.
Hands it to Josh Dacos, looks around. Collingwood about to go inside 50. No one comes at him. Can he hit Oscar Elliott? He couldn't mark it. He gathers the crumb. 40 out. Spins it around. It's a goal. Collingwood alive. Collingwood 2 goals from the lead.
Tom McCartan on the very last line. The kick came from Florence. Side bottom. Is it? It is. Steele, side bottom, has kicked the goal that has sent disbelief around the SCG.
The final kick, the siren sounds. Sydney stared down the Grim Reaper and they live to tell the tale. They take their place in the 2022 Grand Final. Collingwood left nothing out there, but it will be no consolation. It's a 1-point win to the Swans. The Grand Final will be Geelong and Sydney. But every ounce of admiration is for those in black and white who came from 36 points down and failed at the last.
Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
Amazing scenes here at the SCG. The Swans have held on in an epic by a point, 14-11-95 to 14-10-94. Catch your breath, soak it in. It's the Swans and the Cats in the granny.
Shake down the thunder from the sky.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Motorola. Check out the latest smartphones from motorola.com.au.
Hello, Moto.
Hit the road with a 1 in 4 chance to win with the Monopoly game at Macca's. Win prizes like a year of free Wilson parking, a new Volkswagen Polo GTI with 5-year care plan, and more. Download the My Macca's app and play today. Ends 18th of October. For full terms, visit mcdonalds.com.au.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland 11 stores open 7 days until midnight in Melbourne and Geelong, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
Take me now, I'm coming. Take me now, Sexyland.
If you've been injured at work, you should seek legal advice. Arnold, Thomas and Becker can advise on all your compensation entitlements, which could be in the hundreds of thousands. The team have over 50 years' experience in securing compensation for injured workers. Talk directly to an Arnold, Thomas and Becker lawyer and start your claim today. And if there's no win, there's no fee. Call 1300 333 300.
For uniforms and workwear, there is a better way with Shawl Unify. Uniform management has never been so easy. Shawl Unify is an Australian company and your national B2B uniform and workwear expert with over 30 years experience in corporate uniforms and workwear. With their fresh approach to uniform management, Shawl Unify oversees uniform and workwear programs for some of Australia's leading organisations. Shawl Unify. Unify your team at shawlunify.com.
Installerine, Installerine, Installerine.
For the hottest of hot party you've ever seen. Rain comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Want the assurance of an Aussie family-sized electric water heater with a 12-year cylinder warranty?
Installerine, Installerine, Installerine.
Then accept nothing less than Australia's best.
Is it possible to create tomorrow's car today? Hyundai believes so. Take the Tucson, Hyundai's mid-size SUV, featuring a revolutionary look, intuitive interior, advanced tech, and safety. You can enjoy all this in the Tucson Turbo Diesel all-wheel drive. Available now. Tomorrow's car is here today. Hyundai Tucson, in stock now. Visit Hyundai.com.au. Imagine that. Hyundai.
While truckies support Australia, Shell has been supporting truckies since 1901, making road transport easier, safer and more efficient. And for Shell card holders, we're making it more economical as well. Talk to us today about a fuel discount for your business and save every time you refuel. It doesn't matter if you run one truck or a whole fleet. All you need is a valid ABN to apply for your Shell card now at shell.com.au/truck network.
You wouldn't operate a chainsaw blindfolded. You wouldn't ride your dirt bike blindfolded. And you wouldn't walk on your roof blindfolded. Yet too many people dig without searching before you dig online first. Because if you don't search first, you're digging blind. Avoid high-pressure gas mains and high-voltage electricity cables every time. Search before you dig online every time. And never dig blind.
The Designer Appliances Spring Renovation Spend and Get sale is on now. Receive a bonus digital Visa gift card up to $500 on Electrolux, Smeg, Fisher & Paykel and so much more. Visit us at Designer Appliances, Camberwell, Heidelberg, Rosebud and South.
It's a new sound of chasing, pacing and racing.
1593 AM.
SEN Track. Across Australia on SEN and streaming on the SEN app. This is SEN Saturday Nights with Damien Watson and Paul Sebastiani. Call anytime 1300 736 736.
The siren pending on the kick end. Every last ounce of energy exhausted. The final kick. The siren sounds. Sydney stared down the Grim Reaper and they live to tell the tale. They take their place in the 2022 Grand Final. Collingwood left nothing out there, but it will be no consolation. It's a 1-point win to the Swans. The Grand Final will be Geelong and Sydney. But every ounce of admiration is for those in black and white who came from 36 points down and failed at the last.
Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
The stand is shaking, Jerry.
It is.
Wow, what an incredible preliminary final. What an incredible call as well. It'll go down in football folklore just like 1996. It was a 1-point result to the Swans just like in that year. This time it was over Collingwood. It's a game that'll be talked about